Hi guys, how are you? I just stepped away really quick to give Penny a bone so she's happy, and I came back to all these fun comments. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for hanging out with me today. We are going to be brainstorming. I wrote this down. The break into two, B story character, fun and games, and the midpoint. And obviously, I'm sure most of you know by now, but that's it's based on the Save the Cat Writes a Novel story beat sheet. So those are, I think, the beats 6, 7, 8, and 9. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, hi, I see so many of you here. Let me just quick say hi to you guys. And thank you for this, Megan. We are doing so good. Zion actually fell asleep on time. Thank goodness, my little guy. And so I'm just so happy. But I did have a note here to say we need to be time efficient today because he has been waking up like not hours early, maybe an hour, hour and a half, something like that, early almost every day. So I just had this gut feeling we're going to get cut short today. Just be prepared for that. Hello. So good to see you. I'm so excited. Anyone here participating in Nano? I love this question. Let me know because I actually do want to know that. Let the fun begin, right, Patricia? I love that. Okay, this is so fun. So you guys are already chatting about Nano. I will pause. This is not planned, but I am excited to hopefully do Nano with you guys this year. So if you're wanting to do live stream writing sprints, then hopefully we'll do some of that. Oh my gosh, you are so sweet. Thank you. Hello. Hi. I'm so glad you guys are here. Hey, Rachel. I love your handle, by the way. That makes me smile every time I see it. Working on, okay, so you guys are sharing what you're working on. And yes, for Nano. Sweet. Okay, so I have some notes for what we're going to do just so you can kind of expect what's going to happen today. Reviewing our story so far. If you missed part 1 or part 2, no worries. We're going to do a quick recap. And of course, we did have some things that were kind of like still floating last time. So I did organize that at the bottom of the Butterbook document right here. There we go. I'll make it bigger so you can kind of see it. And actually, you don't need to see it yet. What am I doing? Can you tell that I am just like too excited to plan with you guys? I can't even think straight because I just want to start plotting. But I also have survey results to share with you all. And then of course we can talk about how you can get access to this Butterbook brainstorming doc. It's a bit of a tongue twister. And a lot of you already have access. So you can see up at the top here that some of you are in the doc. Can you see this? Let me make it bigger one more time. I love how it's calling like anonymous duck, anonymous rhino, anonymous squirrel. So I don't know if you know which one you are, but you might see yourself in here. And so if you were on my newsletter, you got access to this, but don't worry if you didn't, or if you missed it, I will be sending out again. Oh my gosh, you can actually, okay, that's so funny. I'm trying to figure out why there's a space there because I can see one of you are in there. But just to give you a quick tour, is it going? Okay, it's glitching a little bit. Let me know if at any point it gets too slow because I think my husband's computer is glitching a little bit. And that's where I'm showing you this live stream. But we have the description of our project, our goals, our resources, the calendar. So this is just my quick review. Our list of tropes. This is like gathered from the survey and from just, I guess, what I have brainstormed over time. So there's like 3 pages of notes here. And I hope this is not glitching too much. I'm so sorry if it is. Then we have, this is fun. I think we should pause here at our Butterbook log line because we're going to actually be able to fill this in today. A little bit, not all of it. But we have already got a stasis death moment, AKA where their world is just messed up and it needs to change. We already have our flawed hero brainstormed, not perfectly, obviously, but pieces of her. And then we are about to do, I think today is a break into 2. Yeah, our break into 2. And we kind of already know what that is because we have been talking about it already. And then by the end of today, we probably, hopefully, will even have a midpoint as well and a theme stated. So funny enough, we've got a lot of this figured out already. Okay. I'm so excited to show you the survey. So what I'm going to do is just before I forget, I want to give you a quick reminder how to get this access to this brainstorming document is my newsletter every Thursday this month. I'm going to send out a newsletter with a reminder of the video and access to this brainstorming document if you want to get access. But let me know in the comments if you're already in there like right now because I want to know. And let's see here. I just want to catch up really quick. Also, I want to say thank you, Avi, for this. Don't forget to hit the like button. I love that. Thank you. So we have, I'm just skipping through here. There we go. Yay for sprints. Awesome. Doing Nano again this year. Sweet. You're going to be, oh, last year was, yeah, the Thanksgiving in Canada. That's what I had a friend in Canada tell me. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. But that's so exciting that you guys want to do the sprints. Yes, for Nano, but not updating the website. Yeah, too much pressure. That's totally fine. Honestly, I really like this website called Pacemaker. If you do like updating, I haven't used the website in years. Let's see, gonna do my second NaNoWriMo. Excited to, yay. I love to do it. It is hard to balance. Yeah, the timing is, I don't even know. I don't have the right words for it. It's over Thanksgiving. It's with all the holidays coming up. It's always like the most pressure-filled month. The only one I could imagine being harder would be December, honestly. So yay, excited that you're doing Nano. Good evening from Scotland. Hi, so glad you're here. Hello. What does this mean? I don't know what that means, but now I'm curious. Hanging out in the dock. Oh, the butter book brainstorming time. I love it. The BBBD. I'm in the triple B doc. That's hilarious. Doing Nano and yes to sprints. Sweet. I don't know if you can see my name. So Megan, I was saying it's so funny because everybody is listed. Let me show you again. Can you see that? If I make it, yeah, anonymous, like animals. The buffalo, that's new. That's really funny. And there are 13 of you in there right now as we speak. So this is really fun. All right, so let me get right to it. Let's start with the survey because I'm really excited to show you guys the results. I almost put this on the screen first. So remove that. And then I want to present. I have to stop the first presentation. Share screen, survey. Are you ready for this? Are you guys excited? This survey is so fun. As you can see, there were 146 responses and you guys showed up. So I'm just going to run through the questions really fast. Let me know, can you read it on the screen there? I wonder if I can make it bigger somehow. Let's see. There. How's that looking? And of course, my husband's computer is slow. Come on. There. Okay. So number one, and this is kind of a marketing question. So you might be like, well, why are we talking about this? I will explain, but it's really valuable for me in the writing process to know where the story is going and that end goal. If you know where your finish line is, what you're aiming for your book to be like, it's going to make the whole writing process and editing process easier. I've learned this the hard way. So the question number one is ACOTAR a well-known spicy book? A very good comp, aka comparison title for us to use both for describing this butter book and when we're actually writing and outlining it. So the butter book is not actually going to be spicy. That's just not my brand. That's not how I personally write. So I was basically saying, what do you guys think? Is this a good comparison or is this going to throw people off? Like, you never want to describe your book as it's like this when it's really not, because that'll just frustrate readers when you could potentially get a better comparison. Does that make sense? So I'm so glad you like the survey aspect. That makes me so happy. So basically, the survey results were actually surprising to me, which was keep ACOTAR as a comp. I don't know. Let me hover over. Can you see the full answer show up? I'm going to have to get his computer fixed because this is crazy. So keep ACOTAR as a comp and mark it as no spice ACOTAR or ACOTAR without spice. And for those of you who are like, ACOTAR, what is that? If you're just tuning in, that has been our comp book. It stands for A Court of Thorns and Roses. We just shorten it because it's a long title. So there was one person in here, and this is a fair point, where they said it's too early to be worrying about comps. Like, what fits best will be clearer. And I understand that completely. But like I said, it's actually surprising to me with how many books I've written at this point. I think I'm on my 9th or 10th fiction novel. I don't know, because not every one of the books I've written has been published yet, but it is just fascinating to me where I can, if I have no idea where it's going to go, the book is just kind of all over the place. And then when I get to the end, I'm like, I have no idea how to market this. And you might be like, who cares about marketing? That's in the future. But honestly, if you want people to read your book, that's a valid concern. So if instead you're thinking of your readers from the very start, that's honestly what marketing is. It's like, what do my readers like? What do they want to read? And thinking of them first can really help you get a better book written. And so that's why I worry about it. Not to say, this is now set in stone, we have to do ACOTAR, because it could still change, and that's fine. But more because I think it's really smart when outlining and writing for us to be like, what do our readers want, and how are we going to make them or give them what they want? Okay, so that was a bit of a tangent, but let's move on to number 2. And sorry, I'm going to try to breeze through these as fast as possible because, like I said, I think we're going to get cut short today. So, number 2, should the veil between worlds, our human world and our Fae world, be only twice a year or more easily accessed through some kind of like threshold that they can go back and forth? And you guys were almost like, what is the word I want right now? I'm just low on words today. I was going to say almost unanimous, and then I was like, no, it's not really, but it's very strongly only twice a year on specific holidays, which we can figure out later. I think the fairy book that I have here that I've shown you guys in the past, it's linked below, like all the other links. This one does talk about the holidays, so I'll try to look it up and remember what they are after the live stream. But this is an obvious answer. They're only going through twice a year. One of the things we can brainstorm that I want to give to right now, so you can be thinking about while we talk, is does our main character, Mara, find out that she can go through only twice a year the first time she goes through? So, for example, right at that catalyst that we brainstormed last time, where it's like how do I say this? She figures out, maybe somebody tells her, you only have this one shot and the window's closing. Like as soon as this holiday's over, like whether it's at midnight or at dawn or something like that, it's over and you can't go after your family. You can only do twice a year. That would raise the stakes right there in the story. Or maybe she just runs after them, has no idea. And when she's in the fairy world, in later on, maybe in the midpoint or something, that could be the midpoint plot twist where she's like, wait a minute. Once I save them, we can't get back because the next holiday's in like 6 months or whatever it is. Like, what? So that could be a fun twist as well. So it's a fun way to raise the stakes quite a bit. But let me know which sounds more exciting to you, for her to know right from the get-go that you can only go back and forth, or not right from the get-go, but early on in the story, or if it's like a plot twist later on. I think I need to drink some of my yummy drink here because I'm like just too excited. Mm. Okay. Now, this one is really fun as well. Before I keep going, I just wanted to make sure, let me know if you guys are voting in the comments. Number 3, where should their main residence or hangout place in the story be? Last time we had talked about a castle, fairy court, or a mansion. And it's so fun because, once again, it was very not unanimous. Tell me what word I'm looking for here. It's very obvious. That doesn't feel right. A fairy court. I'm so excited about that. So this, again, I'm like, okay, we can brainstorm so much on this as well, because it's like, this is how it is with brainstorming and outlining. Once you make one decision, it opens up like 3 more options that you could consider. So for example, with a fairy court, is it in like a typical, again, that would be like a castle or mansion type fairy court, or is it like, I think Holly Black, and there's like 2 other Fae books that I'm thinking of. It was like underground. I can't think of the name of them. Let me see if I have them on my shelf. My books are down here. I can't see it from here, but there's like a bunch of books where the Fae are underground. And I think that's kind of taken from the fairy lore. So that's an easy one. Or we could branch out a third way, where a lot of you in the last survey were like, put them in the trees. And I was like, oh, this could be fun. It could be a little bit weird, but it also could be really different. Like the fairy court is like these really big hollowed out trees or something like that. It could be really fun to play with something different. So those are just 3 ideas. Oh my gosh, a ton of comments just came in. I think my computer's behind. Plot twist, upping the stakes is a plus. Okay, so 1 vote. I'm going to literally tally these up, and we're going to vote right now in the live stream. So the plot twist you're talking about is the later on, and that was for when she finds out, I need more paper, finds out about, I'm going to call it the veil, for lack of a better word. When she finds out about the veil, and I'll put a column for early and a column for late / plot twist. And we have 1 vote for plot twist, another vote for plot twist later on. I think it would be better to do it after she's already there, because she could already have tried to rescue them, but then realize they can't get home yet and they're trapped. I love that. So 3 votes for plot twist. I feel like the twice a year might be too limiting. Maybe 3 times a year. Okay, I see what you're saying, where it's like maybe, so let's just say on holidays at this moment, and there's like a long gap, whatever the times might be. I like that, of like basically like Avi saying, don't lock it in that it's that few, but it's rare. All for plot twist. Number 4. Awesome. Okay, let's see. I think it would be better if Mara knows from the start about the twice a year thing. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of votes coming in. I think the word you're looking for is divided. Yeah, I think you're right. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. Put the court in a sequoia forest. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I agree with AV regarding limiting yourself and also the pacing of the story if you have to wait till it opens. So we might be strategic about it and give them like, we could even do like 4 or 5 holidays, but we'll make it limited and we'll make it like work against the character essentially. I like the idea of her rushing in without thinking and then realizing or finding out later that they're trapped. So that's number 5 vote for a plot twist. Like the plot twist in the middle. Number 6, put them in the trees. That's so fun. Yeah, I was actually picturing the Star Wars Ewoks, but then I was like, is that me and words today, we're not getting along. Is that elegant, I guess, enough for the Fae? Does that feel like, do you guys like the trees idea? It should be different because I do like that. Plot twist, veil. Okay, vote number 7. Plot twist, vote number 8. I think we have a winner, you guys. Plot twist later, vote number 9. Plot twist, but make it long holidays to keep the pace snappy. So by long holidays, do you mean like maybe it's like a week-long celebration, so they can get back and forth a little bit like throughout that whole week-long holiday? Or do you mean, yeah, what do you mean by long holidays? Let me know, because I'm very curious now. I'm like intrigued by that. 1 vote for 3 times a year. Okay, so actually you being the second vote for 3 times a year. 3 times a year. I'm just going to write it down as our most likely option. I love the fairy court in the trees. I think we've got 3 votes for that now too. 3 votes, fairies in the trees. My notes are so sloppy. Okay. Love the plot twist in the middle. Vote number 10. I think we have a winner. What do you guys think? Brazilian fan in the house. Thank you. Fae in the trees. Number 4. Plot twist. Later plot twist. We got 2 more right there. Okay. I think that's decided. What do you guys think? I'm going to actually write that in the doc as well. Once we get to that point, please remind me so I don't forget. And the long holiday will put a time frame on the story. I like that. That makes total sense. Thank you. And Kay is saying long holiday, like a week of Thanksgiving or something. Otherwise, you have to get creative with the time skips. I like that. Oh, another vote for Fae in the trees. That's 5 votes. And I don't see anybody voting for like the typical, what do you call it? Like a castle / building / mansion or anything. Let me know if that's your preference or if you prefer the in the ground, like underground, typical Fae. Another one for Fae in the trees. Okay, Patricia, thank you. 6 votes. I should have just done the tally marks. I was writing a number. So we have, when she finds out about the veil, we have 1 vote. And when she finds out about the veil at the end in the plot twist, we have 12 votes. I think that's decided. Okay, we're on number 3. I think we had just done is that they're hanging out in a fairy court, and most of you like the idea of Fae in the trees. Trees can be elegant. Okay, good. I think so too. Fae in the trees sounds fun and different. This is coming back to the holidays, like solstices and equinoxes. I really love those words. I think that's what the book is talking about. They called it Samhain or something like that. I can't remember how to say it, but I think solstice is a really common one too, and I love that. Fae in the trees. Okay, awesome. It could be a castle in the forest. That could be cool. And then absolutely trees and underground. Oh, so you're saying like both, maybe. That could be cool as well. Okay, so we'll keep a pin on that. Keep letting me know if you haven't voted yet, if you want Fae in the trees, castle, underground, or a mix. And then our fairy world. We were talking about this, so this is actually going to play into what you're talking about right here very much. The biggest vote, because we talked about, do we want modern, do we want traditional, and do we want maybe a mix of modern and traditional? And then you guys also put in some other votes, like plumbing could be powered by fairy water magic and fridges by ice magic. So you're kind of like you're having the modern conveniences, but with a magic version, which I have seen done. I think I just read a book with mage lights. Was that Fourth Wing? I think it totally was. And that was like, oh, they've got like lighting, but it's magic. And so that could be fun. A lot of you are saying like mix would be really, really fun. One of you said maybe the Fae are even smarter than the humans and they're more modern. So that's our vote right here. Doing a mix of somehow is what's winning. So if we are doing a mix, we could keep the Fae in the trees, which is a little more, not traditional so much as just not modern, and then make the humans be modern if that's not too similar to Holly Black. I don't know. She does a really good job of that. Lord of the Rings did make the tree houses look elegant. And by the way, Joanna, this is fun that you bring this up because I also read a book when I was a kid about this. I think it was like I don't know, 10-year-old or something who ran away from home and he went to live in a redwood tree. And it was really, really cool because it was like a hollowed out and it had levels and it was just super cool. Okay, so yeah, that could be, oh, that makes total sense. Okay, so, and I'm pronouncing it wrong, sorry. But I do like where did it go? The solstices and the equinoxes, because if there's 2 of each, then we have 4, and that feels really nice. So I'm actually going to write down solstice and equinox. How do you spell that? Times 2. Okay. I really, really like that. I think that'd be just the right amount to give us wiggle room without making it easy. You know what I mean? I have an idea, a nod to Rome and Persia of gravity-fed plumbing. Very fun. I love that. Halloween is a holiday considered time for thinning of the veil. Okay, so it's already kind of a typical time that they consider that. I like the Fae being smarter than the humans. This would make the soul-binding contracts that Mara's family fell victim to more believable. And another vote for Fae in the trees. I love that. And these are all 3 months apart, so that's perfect because it's very balanced feeling. So it's like once a quarter. Thank you, Rachel. I really, really like that. Okay, so let's keep going because I am only halfway through our survey, and I always do this. I get excited about brainstorming. Number 5, is our main character Mara secretly a fairy? Now, I put in here very specifically, not necessarily a changeling. I know if you've been with me brainstorming, we've talked about changelings a lot, but I just feel like they're creepy. And so I was talking to friends, I was like, I don't feel comfortable writing this. And they're like, well, just call it a halfling. Like that means one parent is human, one parent is fae. And I looked back at your comments from the last live streams and I realized what you guys really wanted was the half fae. Not necessarily that they had to be a changeling, but you wanted her to actually have that fae background. And that's reflected very much so here that she should be secretly part fae. Almost everybody, 113 votes for this. And I love that it does make it more fun that she falls for the love interest who's fae, because then the fae have these super long lifespans. So it's not like she's human and she's going to die and he's going to live on. It's going to be cool that they can both be fae together. So I like that. And then if she is part fae, which I was kind of like, I kind of could tell that you guys were leaning that way. I said whether changeling or something else, which we're leaning towards something else, and we'll figure that out later. Then who knows that she's a fae? I put, does she know? Does her family know? Anybody else? Obviously, if her mother's the one who's fae, she has to know, right? So there were multiple options, and with each option, I tried to put an option 2. Not even the reader knows, because I thought that was fun. So you guys voted for her father and mother know, but Mara does not, and neither does the reader. So we're going to have a really, really fun plot twist at some point. We'll have to brainstorm once we get towards probably the end of the book in those beats. The next 2 live streams, we'll figure out when she finds out. I don't think it'll be today, unless it's the midpoint. We're brainstorming the midpoint today, so who knows? Keep this in the back of your mind because we might find out today. Number 7, do the humans in any way know about the Fae? And I should pause. I am so sorry because I am not seeing your comments. Maybe not all Fae are same. Maybe some are modern and some are not. Kind of like high Fae and lesser fairies. I love that. That's a really good idea. Where like some of them just like are out in the woods. Some of them are living in typical houses with all the conveniences. I love the idea of the Fae world being the more advanced world. Magic would make any society more advanced. That's a really good point, actually. So like you're saying, okay, so what you're saying, Nessa, is that maybe the humans are more your typical, like they don't have the indoor plumbing, they don't have the lighting, they're like farming or whatever. And then when they go into the Fae world, that's when it's like, oh wow, you got a lot going on. And this is, I think you're talking about the going back and forth, right? And half human plus half Fae equals Fae man. I like that. Redwoods have fairy rings? No way. You're kidding. Oh my gosh, I love that. It would be so cool if it was a redwood. We could also make up a tree that doesn't exist, but basically base it on redwoods, or I think somebody said sequoias, right? And then, sorry, my uncle's a farmer, so I shouldn't say that. And my dad used to be as well. So no shade to farmers, but that's just what I picture is like when I think of like either farmers or hunters, right? And gatherers type style stuff where if they don't have like your typical jobs because Plumbing's been taken care of and electricity's been taken care of. Oh, that's funny. You're making me laugh. Okay, so anyway, coming back to the survey, and feel free to keep brainstorming with me here. Number 7, do the humans in any way know about the Fae? And it was very funny how you guys were like, nope, they don't know. So we voted for the Fae are taking advantage of the humans behind the scenes, while the humans are, for the most part, completely unaware. And I think it's cut off on the screen here, but it says down here at the bottom, it says, this is just your more typical fairy lore. So I think that'll work good. And I apologize if you can hear my neighbor's dog. She's very loud right now. Number 8 is our last one. And this was a fun one for me because I always love names and I love even more voting on it. So we get our favorite together. So I wanted a different placeholder name for the love interest, and I picked the letter R to start with just to make things easy. It's still just a placeholder, but Reed felt way too close to Reese from Ekatar. I just couldn't unsee it. And then I think the other name you guys really loved was Rowan in the last live stream, also used by Sarah J. Moss. So I was like, okay, I pulled up Pinterest for some of these names, and then I used a fantasy name generator. And I'm so excited you guys picked Riven. And that just sounds so cool. And it's fun because when fantasy names have a little bit of familiarity, like Rye, if you call him Rye, like I have a cousin named Ryan, it feels natural, but Riven is different as well. So that's really fun. Okay, so now let me go ahead and stop presenting. And then I want to come back to our Butterbook brainstorming right here and click share. Okay, let me know if you can see it, okay? I think it's a little too big. Let me zoom out just a tiny bit. How's that feel? Okay. Actually, that's still really big. I don't know why. Oh, because I zoomed in. That's right. Okay, maybe a fairy tree, kind of like the tree of life in Norse mythology. So yeah, like the fairy trees, we could literally just call them fairy trees, based off of like redwoods and sequoias. Sequoias are the thickest. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So yeah, basically we're creating something, and these fairy trees are like their homes. But they're so okay. I kind of want to go to Pinterest right now. This is the problem with brainstorming, and I'm not going to let myself, but maybe I'll put something in the doc later for you guys if I can find some cool Pinterest pictures of like homes and trees, because I've totally seen them when I was brainstorming in the past. Okay, yeah, fairy tales only. I think that was a really big one where you guys said that last time, where it's like maybe they have some fairy lore, but they don't believe it. They don't really know that it's true. Yay, I'm so glad you voted for Riven. I like that one. And sorry, Rachel. I'm so sorry. um, and then let's see. I know we already voted, but if the humans don't know about the Fae, then there's no way that Mara would know about the veil restrictions. Sorry, hold on. I've got like a dog hair in my mouth. I thought about this as well. And so here's my one and only idea. Let's brainstorm right now because this is actually the break into 2, which is perfect. We need to get into our brainstorming. So let me jump over to our break into 2. Questions right here. Oh no, hold on. Did we already brainstorm this? Did we? I don't think so. I don't remember. Okay. Oh no, we did. We did brainstorm it because this was our very first live stream back when we were doing the, I don't know, like story foundation, I guess to call it. But anyway, coming back to your question, Tally, is that how you say your name? What I was thinking is potentially somebody is like either left behind from the Fae to tell her a note is left behind, or we did brainstorm the neighbor lady that her father's crushing on, and we had brainstormed a whole thing there. So the neighbor lady could be the one who watched all of it, saw it happen. Maybe she was peeking out her window, maybe she was listening in. I don't know. We could brainstorm how she ends up being the one to tell Mara. So before we go into brainstorming, I forgot to do our review. Let me go ahead and do that right now. If you can see on this far left side is our table of contents. Oops. And so here's our outline brainstorming where we're like going through it. But once we decide things, I scroll all the way down here to the bottom. Let me take this comment off so you can see it. And right here on this bottom left, the final Butterbook outline, it's brief. So I'm just going to read through it. Are you ready? Opening image / our hook. And let me see if I can just make this bigger and just get rid of my face altogether. How does that feel? Okay, so Mara is in her home with her merchant father and 2 sisters. We see them fighting in a funny way. And that's to set the tone of our story in case you missed that. That's why we wrote Funny Way. About her father being interested in the neighbor lady, who could potentially even be in the room, like maybe she caught them or something. Mara is convinced, that letting someone new into their lives is a mistake. This is her shard of glass because of her mother, because they will only let them down again. And her theme stated, this next part right here, is that she believes letting people in will only end up in hurt again. And her truth that she needs to learn through the story, this is what Save the Cat calls the theme stated, what Abby Emmons calls the character's misbelief, is being vulnerable isn't a weakness, it's a strength. And he could say it that way, or maybe he'll say it like, the only reason I'm strong, aka that he's okay after her mother left them, is because he's willing to be vulnerable. Or potentially, I was brainstorming multiple ways to say it, depending on how he ends up coming across. He might say, holding people at arm's length can actually end up hurting you. You are not meant to live life alone. So I really like all three of those. I don't know which one's going to stick. But this setup, as we saw, she was fighting with her father and possibly her sisters. Then she's going to storm off into the town or village, whatever it's going to be, because we hadn't decided if they were modern or traditional yet. On some sort of errand. We were brainstorming a lot about a bookshop being involved, so I put that in there. And then everyone wanted her crush to work at this bookshop. So sorry. And then there we go. So maybe while she's talking to her crush, maybe she's waiting for him to get a book, but she's going to like witness a fairy deal taking place. And if she is part fae, which you guys voted for, so I think this should work, then she could potentially tell that they're fae and that this deal is harmful to the human, but the human is clearly unaware. And then we're also going to show the fae in this world taking advantage of the humans to show how the world needs to change. We'll show how Mara needs to change and let people in, her personal thing that needs to change. And as she tries to hide away from her problems and stay separate from everybody, it will end up hurting her more. Our catalyst and inciting incident. Mara's father, her merchant father, has some sort of business venture to be determined that's failed. As a result, his deal with the Fae means that he and his daughters are bound to serve the Fae for some to be determined number of years. And we don't know how they're serving the Fae either. We have a lot of details to figure out. Maybe the love interest came to enforce the deal. We're not sure yet. But Mara, oh my gosh, there's such a delay. Sorry about that. Mara is not at the house where they're taken because, of course, she was in town talking to her crush, running this errand. So I put here, this is what I was hoping maybe solved it, is that maybe the neighbor lady is the one to tell Mara that her family was taken when she returns. And maybe it's from the lady who explains that the deal wasn't specific on number of daughters, so they didn't know to take you to. And this could be Mara's thinking why she was left behind. And maybe if she was fighting with them, she feels responsible in some way, shape, or form, or she feels like if she could have been there, she could have helped them. We do obviously have some things that still need to be figured out. That's what these questions are right here at the bottom. But for right now, we're going to keep going. So we're just going to finish with the debate. And so what Save the Cat says is, does the character hesitate? Do we see them hesitate on the page? Do we see them consider their options? And Save the Cat writes a novel, talks about if it is an obvious decision and there's no need for a debate, then do we see them like gathering supplies or preparing in some way, like a preparation beat? So her debate is she going to save her family or not? And is she going to ask for help or try to save them on her own? And so we had talked about from the very start, she's an Enneagram 8 with trust issues. So she's going to determine to save them on her own. She doesn't want anybody's help. And because of her avoiding being vulnerable with anybody else, we talked about also her pretending to be somebody else and lying to whatever Fae she meets in order to not get close to any of them. So these are all things that we've decided together. Okay, I'm coming back to the comments really quick. Let's see here. There's an effort to save the tree species. Like you're talking about in real life, there's an effort. That's really cool. Does time move differently? I have actually heard of books where it does, so that could be kind of fun. Oh, here's another tree idea. That's so fun. Sequoias are actually redwoods. Very interesting. That's so cool. Okay, so the quote is, good technology is indistinguishable from magic. Is that a quote, Peter, from like a specific book that you're talking about? Let me know. Let's see here. the trees are like growing plumbing. That's kind of cool. I like that. And so sorry if you are just coming onto this live stream. This is our Butterbook document where we're brainstorming, and we are about to. I just kind of went through the story, and we're about to actually start brainstorming. It's going to be so fun. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to this table of contents. Oh my gosh, I do this every time. Can you guys still see the Butterbook? Okay. I accidentally left it, so I have to come back. Oh no, you're seeing me leave it. Let's see here. Okay. Right here at the top is our story Bible. So before we keep going, I put in a little chunk here for our new decisions that we made during the survey. And I want to make sure we don't forget to add them. So, and I'm going to not make them bold because it's a little much. There we go. So Akatar's our comp. Veil Between Worlds only opens. We're going to do only 4 times a year. Ooh, why is that like that? There we go. 4 times a year on, I think we actually brainstormed this, solstice and equinox. And I think there was 2 of each for the Fae and humans to pass through. And the family will be taken to a fairy court where all our main characters will live, and Mara will sneak in. We are brainstorming. They live in trees, similar to redwoods / the sequoia type of redwood. And our fairy world will be a mix of modern and traditional, leaning toward the Fae being the modern ones, right? With magic, sort of, how did you guys say this? Creating the modernness. I'll figure out a better way to say that later. Mara is secretly part Fae. However, she does not know she's part Fae, and neither does the reader. Only the father and mother know. Oh my gosh. I don't think I scrolled down. There we go. Can you guys see this okay? And then last but not least, oh, I am so sorry. I just realized it's too small. I was getting too excited about brainstorming, and you guys can't even read it. How's that feel? I'm so sorry. I got way too excited. And I don't know if you guys were commenting that you can't see it or not, but I hope you don't mind me getting too excited. And then last but not least, the Fae are taking advantage of the humans behind the scenes while the humans are pretty much unaware. And I think we've said this a couple times, but I forgot to put it in here. So the only knowledge they really have about Fae are from, and you guys said a lot of different cool words. So like fairy lore, fairy tales, traditions, folklore, basically all kind of the same thing. That's literally just different ways of saying the same thing. So there we go. I hope that helps a little bit. And then Riven, I should have probably put this in there. The name of the love interest, Fae dude. I can spell. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So the veil could be an old wives' tale nobody believes, but it records a time when Fae lived with humans. Yeah, so it's like in the past. I love that. The river name was one of my favorites too. I like that. The fire-water balance. Love it. Oh, the quote was from Computer Science. Very cool. Hi, how are you? Okay, so we're going to keep going. I'm so excited to brainstorm. So let's go ahead, now that we've kind of done our review, and go to, I'm on the left side here, our outline brainstorming. What I'm going to do is scroll past all the beats that we've already done. They are messy, but like I said, if you have access to the stock, just go to the bottom and you can see like the final version, because you guys voted that we keep the brainstorming version and then make a final version. So we are at the debate, and we pretty much figured out that she's breaking into the Act 2 world. But before I do this, we did brainstorm a little bit back in, can you see on the left side where I'm going up to the foundational story beats? And then under foundational story beats, the break into 2 right here. Let me know if you can see that okay. That is where our very first live stream, we did actually brainstorm a little bit. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste it just so we don't miss anything. Okay. Whoa. Hold on. Let me just zoom out a little bit. We might just jump back and forth. So based on the want you establish for your hero, what is their goal for this new Act 2? let's scroll down to our official break into two. And where would that one be? They should decide based on their wants what they've established. I think it's this one right here. She wants to avoid the Fae controlling her at all costs, wants to stop them from controlling her family. You guys had helped me figure out things like she wants to find them, probably wants to sneak into the court. That's officially a court now. We could call it the tree court, but that might be a little bit too cheesy. She wants to save them, obviously, wants to break the deal or literally steal them away. We're not sure which one yet, but her goal is to get to them and save them. And the how might not yet be figured out. And so obviously she needs to learn more about the Fae in order to break that deal. Okay. Now let's scroll back up to our break into two brainstorming. Number 2 was, does the goal fix things the wrong way? And do you know why it's the wrong way? So let's go down to our current brainstorming and see if I can find it. Okay. Oh man, is the goal, did I even put that in there? Is it very obvious? Is it a proactive step? I'm just going to put it right here. Trying to do all the above by herself is the wrong way because Mara is unwilling to learn to love and trust anybody else and be vulnerable, right? I wish I would have put these in order, but we might have some questions to get through still. Right here, break into 2. How does their world flip upside down? Do they enter an actual new world? And this one is easy. She entered the Fae world. And yes, we should brainstorm how it's different from the human world a little bit more at some point. But let's go ahead and just put that in right here. Are they going from one very obviously different world to another? Yes. Can you find ways to make the two worlds feel very opposite? This one is nice because I don't even think I need to copy anything over. I could just put the fairy world is more modern and advanced based on magic, essentially, while the human world is more, I guess, traditional. And we haven't figured out what we mean by traditional, but we can talk about that too. Is it very obvious when she steps from one world to the next? Would you guys agree with me that it's pretty obvious when she goes and crosses the veil, right? Crossing the veil. Yeah. Let me know what you think, but I feel like that's pretty obvious. And then make sure this is a proactive decision where she chose to go across the veil, which it is. Would you agree? So I think we can just cross that one off. And what is their goal in this new act 2? Is that kind of what we brainstormed right here? It is, isn't it? Okay. So this is a great example of how brainstorming is just messy. It's messy. So I'm basically bumping that goal up to this so that it's all been answered here. And then these blue are Abby Emmons questions, and I think they're really important because they help us remember to think about the character and not just the plot. How will our main character's fears and misbeliefs make them react to the inciting incident? Okay, so let me put that into our specific character, right? Mara's fears and misbelief was being vulnerable and that she can't trust anybody. So how does her fear of being vulnerable make her react when inciting incident is when her family is taken? I feel like that's kind of been answered up here, right? She is worried about them. She wants to go find them and save them. But let me know if you feel like we should brainstorm more into that and more on the character side. And then she's going to want to avoid pain and being vulnerable at all costs. So how will this influence her decision as she moves forward? What is she going to try to avoid? All right, let me come back to the comments here. Oh, this is so fun that you've got it so you can see both. I love that. Let's see here. So maybe she gets okay, I got to go back. I've missed some comments, haven't I? If she can sense that the person involved is in the fairy deal is Fae, surely the Fae would also be able to sense her in some way. So that's a really good point, Shauna. And what I was thinking is if we want to stay true to her not knowing and that she really didn't know about the Fae at all, then maybe she has no idea that she's seeing anything different. Because remember, the Fae are glamored. I think that's something we talked about early-ish in the story. And so we had talked about maybe she sees through the glamour, but she doesn't know there's a glamour. So she has no idea that she's seeing something that nobody else is seeing, if that makes sense. That is definitely a possible plot hole. We might have found our first big plot hole. But let me come back down to where Tally answered, really good point. Maybe that's how she gets away with pretending to belong there. Yeah, like with the Fae, because she's a little bit more able to blend in. I really like that. Let's see here. In D&D, are you kind of talking about how they do contracts? They make tricky contracts that are followed to the letter. So the Fae could be similar. Yeah, I really like that because I think I've heard that as well. Like the exact words in a Fae deal matter. And sometimes they put in loopholes that are good for them, not great for the humans. So the question is, would Mara be magically able to hear these loopholes, or is she just really, really smart? Because maybe some Fae are smarter than others too, just like humans, you know? Let's see. The fathers could deal in transporting goods, and the Fae trap him by giving him a set of rare books to deliver. The daughter does the transport, but the books vanish on arrival, and the daughter agrees to work off the debt. So Peter, yeah, to save off the father's business, that would fit with our like Beauty and the Beast retelling really well. But we had brainstormed that Mara gets left behind, so maybe the other daughters have to work off the debt, and the father as well. Oh my gosh, the arbor court. I love that. That could be really fun. Yeah, arbor is Latin. I'm pretty sure you're right for tree. I've heard that before. That's really fun, the arbor court. I'm going to write that down because otherwise I will forget. Sometimes I do try to come back and watch all the way through the live stream too. So if I miss any important comments, just know that I tried to come back. Let's see here. Let me know what you're talking about here because now I'm very curious. When you say very obvious, let me see if I can find your last comment. And you might have been referring to something I said too, and I'm just slow to catch up on comments. In the book version of Howl's Moving Castle, they go from fairy tale world to modern England. Yeah, it's really fun to contrast. It's so different. A creative, beautiful mess of potential. Yes, it is. Exactly. Yes, I love it. Okay, so the family shouldn't be taken to the Fae. Okay, but Peter, we've already brainstormed that, so I don't want to go too far backwards or we'll be in trouble because I could definitely go all over the place. But we're going to try to be really like decisive today and keep moving forward. If Mara's father is an advanced tech inventor for the Fae, like Beauty and the Beast, how Belle's father Maurice was an inventor, then instead of the business venture failing, his tech inventions failed and the Fae took them. That is a really fun idea. I love it. Thank you so much. Since she does not know that she's Fae, what if when she sees it, she is left confused? Yes, that's kind of what I'm thinking. As long as it doesn't leave a plot hole, coming back to our plot hole that started this off, I think it would be really good to have her just be like, why are the humans being so stupid? Well, not humans, because she doesn't know any different. Why is, neighbor so-and-so being so dumb? This is a really dumb deal he's making, something like that. And again, so sorry, Peter, because I want to stick with our plan, but I appreciate the brainstorming the other direction. That could be another fun Beauty and the Beast retelling. Let's see. It's obvious when she enters the Fae world because of something. Oh, that's what you were talking about in that previous comment. I am so sorry. Right here. Very obvious when she sees a huge tree. And then you were saying it's obvious when she enters because of something she sees in the distance or the magic around her. I like that. Okay, so the break into two, I'm just going to say probably right here. Let's see, what makes it different? Maybe she sees the much larger trees and maybe there's some sort of like connector between them. That could be kind of cool to make it more of a court. So they all have their individual trees, but you can come between them. And like, how big are these trees? Are we talking like, could one of them even be like, what is the word I want? Like not a football game. That's way too huge, but like, a big store size or something like that. I'm trying to think of a good building comparison that would fit in the story. So like large enough for a large crowd where they can actually hold court, or would the actual court be outside and then the trees are all like around it or something like that. This is fun brainstorming. So maybe she sees much larger trees. Maybe the veil itself has some sort of quality. That's very vague, but you get the idea. So, but I think more about this question is not necessarily can she tell when she's crossing, but can she see how different the two worlds are? So, this is going forward a little bit. This might not happen in this very first beat, but she will see how modern the fairy world is, right? how different the people are. Maybe, what do you call it when you see through the glamour? Maybe, I'll just say, maybe she sees through more glamours. Oops. To, Google always changed that for me. Glamours to, oh my gosh. Come on. Whatever. Do you see this happening to me? She sees through the fairies to who they truly are. Stupid Google won't let me. So essentially, and then compare how different human and fae worlds are. This is the nice thing about brainstorming is we don't need to know every detail. We just need to know that they will be different. And that is a thing that we'll come back to as we start writing is like, how are they different? How can we, like some movies, this is not something that's easy to do in stories, but how movies will make, like Wizard of Oz is perfect. It's black and white, and then it's in color. So different. And it's like, that's a perfect example of Save the Cat. Okay, so coming back to the questions, because I just saw, or the comments, so many fun stuff in here. Home trees in Avatar, skyscraper trees. Yeah, like literally that tall. That could be so cool. Okay, so this tree in Avatar, I need to go back and watch it because I can't picture it, but it sounds fun. Maybe her senses are heightened. Oh, like you're talking like size. That was a huge tree. Yeah. Maybe her senses are heightened when she enters the fairy court because she finally belongs. I like that. With magic, interiors can be larger than the exterior. Very good point. Maybe she hears a deal, reads between the lines for the first time because she's close to the tree that is the veil. Oh, so you're thinking like the tree itself is the veil? I was picturing like multiple trees. Let me know if you guys want like multiple trees and it's like further into the fae world. So like the court's not like right on the line because I feel like it might be a little weird if it's right on the line. But we could also do one giant tree for everybody. But that would still have to be a really small group of people if it's just one tree. The entire court could be in like the main tree. Yeah, like a castle-sized tree. So obvious that magic is involved. I like that. I like it because it's very, very much like right here. Castle-sized main fairy court tree. I will write that better later, but that way we can kind of see that's not in the human world at all. So it's a very big, obvious break into two. And that's the cool thing about the break into two beat that we're brainstorming is it doesn't have to necessarily be right when she walks across the veil. It could be the moment she sees the fairy court too. Let's see here. If the fae tree is so big, you could mention trees in the human world early as foreshadowing. Yeah, just kind of like compared to human trees and make them all pretty wimpy. That's how I'm going to write it. Oh yeah, the arbor court. I'm literally writing that in just so that I don't forget. There. And let's see, the arbor court in the hollow of a giant tree trunk. What if Mara needs something unique to gain access inside, like a magical password or playing a tune? I like that. If you're talking about, oh, this is like a follow-up on your previous question or comment. Yeah. Let's see, seeing through glamours is usually called having the sight. Oh, really? Okay, hold on. Let's put that back in here because that's actually really good to know. Was that right in here somewhere? I think it was right here. Mara maybe has the sight so she can see through. All right, do not correct me, Google. Stop it. Okay, it didn't correct me. Thank you. How young / small the earth trees are versus how old. Ooh, yeah, the age. Okay, so coming back to I think we're going to put this into our world right here. So this on the left side, you can see it says Our Story Bible. I don't know if you can see that very clearly. But what I'm going to do, oh, and we haven't actually finished this yet. I'm going to actually update this later. Let me put a note. Update this to our survey decisions. Add the comparison of earth trees versus, the fairy trees and how old they are. And you can tell trees by the rings inside, right? I'm just going to put a question mark because if the trees are hollowed out, that might be tricky. I don't know what this is, but it sounds really cool. So yeah, it's a plot hole with her not knowing she's Faye, but something to ask questions at some point to figure a way to explain what she's hinting at that she's Faye without revealing. So essentially, yeah, Patricia, basically, if it's done well, like it's a plot hole now, but plot holes that aren't like permanent, we can fill them in. So, right? So what we could do is basically find a way to make it foreshadowing so that when a reader looks back, they're like, oh, duh, of course she was Faye. She was seeing glamours and she was seeing through it. Like, of course. Mm. Those are always very, very satisfying to read. The trees could be bigger on the inside than on the outside due to magic. Okay, a lot of you are saying that. So let me add that to my note here. Or at least 2 of you have said that now. Trees might be bigger on the inside. Than the outside due to magic? Question mark. I want to be careful leaning on magic too much because it could be fun, but it could come across cheesy. I don't know. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. One giant tree could work. From the outside, it looks normal, but once you enter, it's like infinite. Or here's a thought that it's still like the underground world, but the tree is the entrance. That could be cool. It just came to me now, and now I'm like kind of excited about it because then they're not like swinging around. Because sometimes when you picture a tree house, I just like what animals are in trees? It's like monkeys and birds and maybe squirrels. And all of those are a little cheesy and small for Faye, so it feels a little bit weird. But if the tree was the entrance, let me know if you guys like that because I kind of love that. But that's just an idea. And yeah, an infinite magical ceiling, that could be cool too. I like the idea of multiple trees for multiple points of entrance. Could even have the Fae guarding them. There's checkpoints, etc. Yeah. Love the multiple trees. Okay. So sorry. No, you didn't miss a lot. I mean, there is, but we're also very easily tangented. So we actually haven't gotten many of the beats done yet in the story. But you did miss the summary of what happened. So if you have access to this doc right here, you can scroll to the bottom to read quick. Like the idea of her having the sight. Yeah, it's so cool. Okay, so the doorway between worlds is a tree from the human to Fae. So that could be like the veil could be a tree. Excuse me. Let's see here. I know we said the best friend might be Fayish. What if she sees him as handsome, but his glamour? Oh my gosh, I think Zion just woke up. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can hear this, but it just went off. Anyway, let's get focused. His glamour makes everyone see him as dorky, and she just didn't realize that she was something different or seeing something different. I gotcha. I like that. Okay, awesome. No. World building, don't say you suck at it. Everybody can be good at it with enough, like, following the what if path. I have a question. If Mara's the youngest and half Fae, wouldn't her sisters also be half Fae? So yeah, we talked about this. They have different mothers. So essentially, the father was married, had 2 girls. Then the Fae mom is who had Mara, and then she just left them. So that's kind of how we pictured it. And if it's a human world, then there's like it's not modern, it's more traditional. There's probably a lot of like diseases and plagues that can come kill them off. So it might not be too out there to say that 2 moms are gone. Both the first mom would have like died kind of Cinderella style, and then the second mom would be the one that was Faye who Mara thinks left them. And we talked about that being her shard of glass, as Save the Cat calls it, where it's like this is what makes her have her misbelief that she can't be vulnerable, can't trust because her mom left her. So that's kind of what we had brainstormed before. She could have a special locket that she couldn't open, but it opens when she's close to the fairy tree. This is so fun. You guys are making me. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to catch myself because Zion might just have woken up and we might not have that much time. Let's go back to our story beats. I did it again. Every time I slide my fingers just a certain way, it actually goes back a tab to whatever I was previously looking at. Okay, so we are in the break into 2. I would say that we have this fairly solved. Let me let the screen catch up. There we go. I would say, let me know. Do you feel like we have kind of our break into 2? It's a very quick beat. We don't have the details, but we know she's going from human world to Fae world. And we know that based on these questions that we've been brainstorming here, the Save the Cat and the Abby Emmons question, that it does fit those beats. So let's move on to the B story. Time to introduce our B story character, which in our case is the love interest, right? So where does he come in? This is where I need you guys because I have no idea. Where does he come in? We know that his name is Ryvan. we know that he is Fae. We had talked about at one point that he was the what do you call it? He was the kind of like the lord of the fairy court. So is he, how should I do this? Should we put questions? I'm going to do, what is his place in the fairy court? And these can be things that I put into a survey for you guys and we can brainstorm, but let's get some ideas flowing. Let me know if you have ideas. So is he like the lord / top dog? I don't know what to call it. Or I'm just using kind of the English because it's the easiest to remember, like a nobleman, and then we can make up words for what that might actually mean. Is he an heir, or is that too close to Holly Black's book? Is he like a knight? I think I've seen fairy knights going on, but I don't want to copy anything. So let's brainstorm outside of that. And sometimes it helps to brainstorm into different cultures and like get ideas from what their hierarchy might be. Okay, so let me come back to the comments here. Oh, we have some fun ideas for the fight in the beginning. I love that. Oh, okay. Yeah, bringing in the fact that she can see and foreshadowing yet again that she actually has the sight, even though she doesn't know it and they're fighting. That could be hilarious. I love that. I think the trees could be the doorways. Oh, they actually are in certain mythology. That's really cool. Picturing an underground kingdom, like C.S. Lewis's. Yeah. Like the tree is the entrance. See, I really like that too. Should we make that a survey question where we have to decide if, let's do it. I have to write this down somewhere. Oh, actually, let me type it into the doc. That'll be easier. Here is our last survey question. So we're going to delete these because we have answers, right? And survey question number 1, the fairy trees. I'm going to write this better later. Hold on. Are they, okay. Is it one tree, question mark, like one massive tree for all the people, magically grows? Is it a bunch of trees all interconnected somehow? Or is it one big tree that's the entrance to like an underground court? I really like that one personally. That one's grabbing me, but we are brainstorming together. So let's keep going. I'm so glad that you feel that way because you got this. Seriously, encouraging is like my number one goal for these live streams, is to encourage you that if I can do it and sound crazy like this, you guys can too. So the entry being a tree feels like the entrance to the past through the stones in Outlander. I really like that. That's so cool that that's been a thing before. Yeah, we all do suck at something. Oh my gosh, I suck at many, many things, but I think the best thing you can do is bring people around you who complement your weaknesses, because that is what helps me. This is a side tangent, but I'll share. I'm actually working on going through my feedback for The Secret Curse, which comes out in January, and I am working through beta reader feedback. If any of my beta readers are watching, you're the best. The feedback is amazing. I am, however, very overwhelmed with how much I didn't think of. And I'm so thankful for you guys because wow. Okay. So let's come back to this. If we are saying the secret or the Fae Court has a secret entrance, Mara could see somebody entering and hijack her way in. Oh, I like that because it's trickier to enter. Even though guards are fun, it's almost more fun if the Fae aren't even worried about the humans. I don't know. We could add that as let's see. Are the Fae worried about the humans crossing? And this might be a poll question, or it might just be one we figure out today. Let's see here. Love the idea of a tree doorway. Okay, cool. I'm so excited you like that. I think it might be cool if Ryven had a history with Mara's family and he could be like opposite of her, where he's too trusting. That could be his flaw. Also for Ryven, was just reminded that, there's like a small warrior hunter band in Ireland made up of freeborn young males. That's very cool. You like the Irish inspiration for him? That's so fun. I like that. And then what if he is like a guard or something at the Vale? Oh, a guard. Okay. Where is our love interest? Was it right here? So we could do guards. I'm not opposed to guards, but if we do expand on that, what if we flip the script? What if he is not in the top hierarchy? What if he's a nobody? I don't have a word for it, so I'll just say a nobody who's enforcing like other phase deals, maybe? I don't know. That's an idea. Or just like the typical word, let me spell it correctly, servant, or some version of that. Really like the idea of him being a debt collector. That's a fun one. Okay. People reading will immediately be suspicious of him because people don't like debt collectors. Oh my gosh. The technology destroying the magic. So you're coming back with the Beauty and the Beast vibes. So Mara demands her family back, but the Beast refuses. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I just had a dream last night. That's so fun. I love that. That would be cool. Let's see. I struggle with criticism, but it's coming from a good place. It's humbling and worth it. Yeah. I think it's taken time to build up a thick skin. And honestly, it doesn't matter how nice a person is, how much you trust them. Sometimes it just hurts and you got to let it hurt and then be like, okay, but they're right though. And that's okay too. What if Rai is an heir, but his family was deposed and whoever's ruling now has, oh my gosh, I love this. So he has the I like the heir deposed, but I would be enjoying having another word for it too. Let's see, heir deposed, who is forced into collecting debts. So it's sort of like, I'm trying to think of a good comp book for that, where it's like, he is a good guy, but he looks like a bad guy, essentially, which really, really fits our Beauty and the Beast fairy tale. Is like something where he seems like a beast. So I'm really leaning towards the debt collector, but then he's not who he seems. So I really like the whole, like, he used to be this, and she just doesn't know that about him. I'm so glad it's giving you some fun story ideas. I love that. That makes me so happy. The band of young nobles could act as like scouts and guards, patrol, ranger. Yeah, exactly. Guards could be like a show of power. I like the idea of him being the actual merchant in the story and not the father. Ooh, I'm going to add that just as a possibility. But I'm still really growing attached to the whole, like, he's calling in the fairy debts. That's really fun. So youngest son, not an heir. Not an heir. So you're thinking like, instead of him being deposed, maybe he is, how would you say this? He is just not important and has to do the jobs nobody wants, right? Kind of like that. What if he's an inventor? That's a fun idea. Okay. I shouldn't be writing everything down. I have to catch myself. I'm trying not to. If he's royal or royalty adjacent, he could be captain of the guards. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. I want to read all these so bad, but we got to keep going because Zion's going to wake up. So it could be a funny spin that connects back to Friends. As soon as I saw Friends, I was like, okay, wait. Could be focusing on the more mundane things, like being in a job you hate and he's doing it begrudgingly. Yeah, I like that. And I like this as well. Okay. Don't forget to change read to Riven under the story Bible. Good catch. Where was that? Under characters tab? Yeah, we haven't really touched on the characters tabs very much. I'm just going to do it right now. Riven. There we go. And he is Fae. Okay. Let's see. His title was usurped by his new boss. A reinforcer for Fae. Deals that humans try to break. Yeah. Love that. Kind of like Chandler not loving his career. Yep. Debt collector / enforcer would be cool. Maybe he's like 12th in line, like Hans from Frozen. I love that. Prince William and Harry, he's the spare. The spare. Oh my gosh. The spare prince. That's funny. But I don't know if that would work because actually I shouldn't be putting it there because it's not a final decision. Let's go back to our, where were we? B story. Because that is a little similar to what's his name? I think it's Carden. Gosh, why am I forgetting his name? From The Cruel Prince, right? Okay, we better keep going. I'm gonna go through these so fast and then we'll come back and to the comments. I'm gonna go through all of them. How does this love interest represent the main character's theme / truth they need to learn? This B story character should be someone that is part of the Act 2 world that they would not have met otherwise. I think we can cross that off because he's in the Fae world, so obviously. And then, is there more than one B story character, i.e., maybe the other friends, if we're following the friends comp from the movie, the TV show, I should say? Then do these other friends also help her learn the truth? So I'm going to leave that one open-ended for once we meet these other friends and see if they feel like B story characters, but we know for sure we have one. And so Riven, how does he help her, Mara, learn her theme or truth? So let's go back, remind ourselves of the theme and the truth. She believes people won't love you back and will use your love against you. So she doesn't believe in being vulnerable. Her truth is that being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of strength, right? Okay, so how does he help her learn that being vulnerable is not a weakness? It is Cardin. Okay, I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. So obviously he needs to help her learn. I'm just going to write this in before I forget it. Let me change this. He needs to help her learn that it's okay to be vulnerable. Oops. And trust someone else. So how would he do that? I don't know the specifics. We can brainstorm the specifics, but obviously just to flip that on its head, he would need to be trustworthy and prove himself probably over and over, right? Not just one time. Even if like it's not in his best interest, I guess. In his best interest. I feel like that's a good way of summing it up. So the details, again, I don't know what the details are. Let me know if you want to brainstorm those really quick. He could really relate to Mara as far as her theme of feeling unloved. Maybe he's doing a job where he's just automatically hated. Maybe even in the Fae world, his job is like bottom tier. Yeah. And so he could relate to her and he'd be like the mirror version where he is trusting, I guess being vulnerable is a better word, anyway. So essentially, she gives him like multiple reasons not, oh, sorry, you can't see that. There we go. I just wrote in this part here. He could relate to her, be the mirror version where he's trusting people, he's being vulnerable anyway, specifically with her, despite the fact that he's been hurt. Okay, so I think we've covered that. Riven's coming in. He represents her theme. He is definitely in the Act 2 world they would not have met otherwise. And if there are more B-story characters, we'll come back to that. Let's keep going. What time is it? How are we doing on time? 1:30. Oh my gosh. Okay. For the fun and games, this is a big beat. So our first question is, there's usually in fun and games a upward path or a downward path, meaning things seem to be getting better. Oh, yay. I'm about to win. And like the story seems like it's about to end. Nope, it's actually there's going to be a plot twist, false defeat. Or, and that's the midpoint, or everything's going worse. It's getting just worse and worse and worse. I can't find my family. I can't find out anything about these Fae. I keep accidentally revealing myself, or they've caught me. Maybe she's literally caught and she's thrown in jail. I don't know. That could be the downward path leading to a false victory. Maybe she escapes the jail or something like that. So let's brainstorm. Do you want it to be an upward path where things seem like they're going well, or should we go downward path? Is there any particular upward path that sounds interesting to you? I have found myself, at least recently, I just with Jezebel gravitated towards the upward path. So everything seemed to be going well. And then there was a huge false defeat. And it was really, really fun to write. He could be a son of a slave master who oversees Mara's family, has to decide to help Mara free her family or be loyal to his father. So that would make him obviously the enemy. Yeah, I like that, Jenny. I really like the idea of him being very obviously against her enemy. He could really relate to Mara as far as the theme, feeling unloved. Oh, I just read that one. I think I've been skipping around. Yeah, got to clean up the messes people make, but he looks after her family. I love that. Yes, Peter, exactly. We need to think of Riven's truth and misbelief as well. You make a good point. We really do. Let's see. I'm going to put a pin in that. My really crazy, like you should see, this is just scribbles upon scribbles. At what point do we brainstorm Riven's want need, and misbelief. What I might do is put that in the poll because it's so fun to have these surveys and it could be really fun. And I could come up with, I don't know, 3 to 5 options maybe, and just try to think of ones that, and then you guys pick. Would that be fun? Let me know if you would enjoy that or if you want to brainstorm it now in this live stream, because we could do this right now. Let's see. Forced to trust him with her family. Exactly. Maybe he doesn't like his job, secretly helps her. Is that really? That's the meaning? That's so funny. Full of power. That's so perfect. I did not know that. I literally got this off of a fantasy name generator and I just thought it sounded cool. So now I'm like extra attached to this name. His arrogance could be off-putting. Actually, yes, let's put a little bit of him into our decisions here. I do think he should be arrogant. I think multiple people have said that, right? He's in some sort of job that makes him, gosh, I got to figure out a better way to say this, at the bottom. And debt collector was one that you guys seem to like a lot, even if potentially he is the son of somebody important. For whatever case, he's not anymore, basically. Okay, I don't want to go too far into that because that's we need to brainstorm him, but I don't know. Do you guys want to brainstorm him or do you want to brainstorm the downward path? Because I could focus on him more. Yeah, and like she doesn't trust him. Oh yeah, what were you guys saying about her family? Like he's the one who took her family, right? So he's also the one to watch over them. Maybe she thinks he's mean to them, but he's really protecting them. And I just realized yet again that you can't see that. There, let me scroll up. Are we choosing Enneagrams for them? We totally could. That'd be so fun. We haven't actually met the other characters yet, so let's hold off on that. And I'm going to put that in the back of my head. I like the downward path. Okay, we got 1 vote for the downward path. Let's have some votes thrown in here. Let's just go for it. And let me make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, I did miss one. Okay. I missed 2. Okay, I see. I think this is the first one. I got to find some blank space on my paper. Okay, so upward path and downward. I'm writing this down on the paper and then we're going to tally. Vote for upward path, false defeat. 1 vote. Okay, I'm just going to look specifically for that. Upward path, number 2. Have no idea how we get here, but I think it'd be a ball at the midpoint would be fun. Yeah, that would be so fun. Keep that in mind for when we get to brainstorming the midpoint because I like that. I don't think we're going to do multi-POV just because that'd be a little overwhelming to brainstorm. Yay, I'm so glad you like the secret shadow. Thank you. That makes me so happy. I like the idea of her life going up and making friends, only to have, okay, so number 3, upwards. Seems like it's all working. Megan votes for downward. Both outwardly, everything's breaking down, magic failing, court confused, but Riven and her can work on solving the problem. So in this example, it's a downward path for the world, but it's an upward path for her. So I'm going to put upward. Are we choosing, oops, oh, I already read that one. Let's definitely think about that. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. What about upward, where she's finding clues where they are, but when she learns the truth, like you're talking kind of like the midpoint is like, crap, they're not there. I really like that. So that actually, I'm like really liking that idea. So she doesn't trust him, feel safe around him. I think I read that one already. What if she has to tell the truth or reveal a secret in order to enter the tree and he helps her, but he's going to be an enemy, remember? So he's not going to be helping her early on. It's going to have to seem like he's the enemy. Let's see. That meaning could work really well. He hides his insecurities regarding his job with his arrogance. That, is how he pushes people away from getting too close and hurting him. Yeah. So essentially he's a good guy, but he does not seem like it from the start. Also, side note, poll question. Oh yeah. What time of year is it? Good question. It'd be funny. Like you always see books like this in like spring or fall or summer when it's nice out. It'd be funny to do winter. We're about to enter winter here in Minnesota and it's about to be awful. So what time of year season is it? And then I'll just put the 4 in there. No, don't be sorry. That is a great question. Was there another poll question? I literally don't remember. We voted for if the fairies are in the trees and you guys like that. When she finds out about the veil, we already decided that. Okay, I think that's it. Oh yeah. Riven's character? Wants, needs, misbelief. Might have to be a poll question. We'll see. Let's see. I like the downward path. We got 1 vote for downward. I got to find my vote. Okay. Was literally thinking that. Yeah, his arrogance hides his insecurities. You guys like that one? Should I write that in for him? Let me know. I could. Characters. I'm so glad that I put the table of contents on the side, or I'd never find anything. Arrogant to hide his insecurities. I like that. We did at one point brainstorm, right here, that he might be an Enneagram 9 or he might be an Enneagram 3. Not totally sure. That's so funny that you say that. Okay. So that's 2 votes for a 3. Multiple votes for 3. Let me know if anybody else has a preference. We could pick a number and go with it. Let's see. I think fun and games is integral. Oh, actually, hold on. Because I am a 3, it hit me. If he was in a job and the one that everyone hated, that would 1000% be painful for a 3, because being an Enneagram 3, it's one of, like, we always want to do our best. We want to, like, there's a competitive side, want to be really good at everything. It's like built in, like, workaholic, not need to be admired, but honestly, it's probably that's like the unhealthy side. And so his unhealthy 3 could come out when literally everybody hates him and he has to be like, that would really suck as an Enneagram 3. If you guys like that, let me know, because I'm kind of feeling that for him. It would give him a shard of glass naturally as well. I think since fun and games is integral to his character, we should brainstorm him so we know how to pivot his character against Mara. That makes total sense. Okay, so let's brainstorm him a little bit more then. I think Enneagram 3. Are you guys okay with that? So that I literally just cross out 9 and say good to go. Hardworking, afraid of failure. It would bother him a lot to be disliked, right? And he is. So that's his shard of glass. Oops. Why is he disliked? Did you guys like the idea of it being because of something somebody else did and he's like the son of that person and it's like, too bad you're a nobody now? Or did you want it to be his fault? Because that could be 2 different things. Okay, and then downward after the midpoint. Upward path with false defeat. Thank you for bringing me back to our vote. We have 6 votes for an upward path. False victory would be a vote for a downward path. That's 3 votes. Upward path, 7 votes. Downward path, 4 votes. I like a false victory. So false victory would be, let's see, everything's going bad, false victory. So that'd be a downward path vote. Upward path, mostly feeling positive, seems to match friends more as the comp. That is a good point. The twist to a negative lasts a short amount of time as a result. So upward has 8 votes. He could help her because he's bored, like a wild card. Oh yeah, votes for the season that they're in. I love that. Winter. That's actually really cool. That's a good point. I hope not. I live in winter. Is that what you're thinking? What about MBTI along with the Enneagram? MBTI is Myers-Briggs, right? So yeah, I love Myers-Briggs. I used to talk about that with everybody. So it's like bringing flashbacks. Which, to answer your question, yes, we totally could. If it's winter, part of going into the Fae world is slush doesn't exist. Is that a thing? I didn't know that. Winter would be a fun tie into Disney's Beauty and the Beast because it becomes winter the closer she gets to the castle. I forgot about that. That'd be fun if it was like not as cold in the human world and then it's like icy in the Fae world, or if it's not even the same season in both worlds. How does time pass in the fairy court? Like maybe it's spring. Oh my gosh, you read my mind. I love it. I love that. Yes, exactly. I live in Wisconsin, so ready for a mild winter. I don't think we'll get that, but I hope so. It would be encouraging to talk about the upward, downward choices during midpoint and how to choose. Honestly, some of choosing might just be you pick one and see if it works, and then you're like, that's not working. So you try the other, and then you decide which feels better. So like, for example, when I kind of threw out those upward and downward paths to you, let me scroll back so we're actually on the right beat as we talk about this. Breaking into two, we were on the fun and games, right? So again, I was just like throwing out examples. So an upward path. She's going into the Fey world, and if we want it to be going well, she finds them. Would be number one, going well. Maybe she even saves them. And what else would be going well? I don't know. Just like examples like that. Those are two examples. And then boom, the midpoint comes, everything flips, she's caught. And then it would go downward from there. And then if you're like, oh, that's okay, I like that. But then you're like, okay, let's talk about the downward path. Well, if everything was going badly, as she walks into the Fey world, however, maybe she can't get in. Maybe there is a guy with a password, like you said, and he's like, sorry, you're not allowed in. Maybe she can't find the fairy court because this one tree, you don't know that you have to like walk into the tree and fall. And I'm just kidding. I don't know. What else could go wrong? So you kind of brainstorm like that. You're like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? And then you just like, okay, she can't find the family. A bunch of Fae find her. Like I said, maybe she gets thrown in jail because she's a human in the Fae world. And they're like, well, we're going to torture you forever, la, la, la. But at the midpoint, because it has to flip, she escapes. So you guys voted though. There are, let me just show you my little poll here. Upward path had 8 votes. Downward had 5. So unless we get any more votes, and we'll talk about this in a second. Thank you for asking that, Kay. Don't let me forget. Actually here, perfect. There's a website called the Enneagram Institution, and you can, just Google Enneagrams. It's really fun. So sorry, you guys, if you've missed this. I apologize that I've been talking about Enneagrams and you don't know. It's just a personality test, and it's a really fun way to type your characters in a way that can make them seem different from each other. So it's a really fun thing. Writers use Enneagram. Writers use Myers-Briggs. But anyway, I'm going to not let myself tangent too far. Let's stick with the upward path. So we had votes for upward path. Let me get rid of the highlight. Upward path, which means everything seems to be going well, right? For our main character. Oh, I'll just put for Mara because we know who she is, for Mara. But it's leading to a false defeat, right? Where everything will fall apart. Now we can brainstorm what the actual upward path is, but let me just put in a few examples. Let's just come up with as many as possible really fast. Is that okay? And I know I'm skipping past the Enneagram stuff. I will come back to that. And oh my gosh, all the fun winter stuff. You guys are voting for winter. Okay. I think we might have already just answered another question. That is so fun. Okay. And I'm so glad that was a helpful explanation about the personalities and all that. And if we use Myers-Briggs, I love it. Okay. I can't let myself be tangented too much. And just so you know, I think even if we add your vote to the downward path, that brings us to 6. So upward path is at 8. And since we're being decisive, we're going to stick with upward path. So what were some of the random things that I threw out? Please throw out some random things that would be going well. Well, first of all, would be finding her family, right? She finds her family or their trail, maybe, if we don't want her to find them too fast. She finds the fairy court, probably. Oops, fairy court. Whether it's the tree or whatnot, we don't know, but it seems like everything's going well for her in this beat if we're doing the upward path. So she seems to be doing well. What else could be going well for her? Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's bring in the friends. Finds friends in this fairy court who, do they seem to be helping her or are they actually helping her? Yeah, genuine friends. I like that. You're saying genuine. Okay. I'm just going to say finds genuine friends in the fairy court. Bring in our friends' TV show characters, right? At some point in the Fun and Games. And Fun and Games is a very big beat in case you haven't read Save the Cat yet. And again, just I feel like I'm using so much lingo that I apologize if you don't know, but based on this book, the Fun and Games is a massive, massive beat. So what I really like is you see here in the blue are Abby Emmons' notes for this beat. And what I really love about Abby Emmons is that she actually breaks down this beat into 2 beats, essentially. So you have your first pinch point. Some kind of opposition or antagonist is looming in the distance that our main character has to face. How can we show what it is and why they're afraid of it? And then there's also what's their new plan at this point? And how are they going to attempt to make their plan happen while still avoiding, in Mara's case, trusting anybody? Okay, so you guys are putting more votes in here. Let me jump back to the stuff here. Clues to where her family is. Okay, or their trail/clues. Okay. Able to find somewhere to stay. Oh yeah, because it's freezing. She is able. Oh, actually, let's put that under Fae Court. Let's kind of put that as like a sub thing. She's able to sneak in. She's able to find a place to stay inside where it's warm since it's winter, because we all decided it's winter. I think we've pretty much decided that. Love the idea of found family, as she's always felt outside of her family. Yeah. I've been wondering about the friends. Exactly. They're coming into play here. I think it's a really good idea to bring them in. Oops, I just skipped. I think ENFJ 8 Wing 7 would be so good for Mara. That would be very fun and very different from what I've written before. So I like that. Things are going well because she's made friends with a fairy. I like that. Finds new friends, starts trusting only to learn she's half Fae. Oh, like you're going ahead to the midpoint. Yeah. And how would she find out too? I like that for a midpoint. It would be interesting if the Fae friends already know her, but she doesn't know them. I really like that too. And then I love the winter season, finding friends. Maybe she also falls for the guy. I like that too. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to write down too much, but actually I should write down meets the, shoot. Oh, I'll keep it here. Meets the love interest guy. Keep in mind though, she's not falling for him yet because enemies to lovers means needs to hate him for a while. Upward path vibes. Sorry, I kept that on the screen while I was writing once again. I apologize. Okay, you're giving them a moment. I like that. Keep that in mind for when they are not enemies anymore. Come back to that. Hold on to it. Oh, you're talking right here. Maybe she finds one of her friends at the place, like new friends. Yeah, so like all of her friends could be Fae of some sort, potentially inside the castle. Love the idea of the outsiders of the castle. Ooh, okay. So are they also, are they Fae, question mark? Or are they also humans and therefore, come on, typing, therefore outsiders? I like that word, outsiders, because that is very interesting. And one of Mara's things is that she feels like an outsider, right? Okay, let me write in a few more of you guys' thoughts. I'm just jumping around here. Oh, you're doing the Myers-Briggs and Enneagram for them. Oh, I love that. Feels like a train wreck about to happen. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, I think we've got some good beats here. Are there some natural ups and downs as well? So what I like about Save the Cat is it doesn't let it be a straight up shot. It needs to be a little bit, things still go wrong, right? So, for example, I don't know, maybe she almost gets caught, because that would be an almost down, but not quite. And this could be by one of the Fae that become her friend, potentially. Maybe the love interest is involved somehow because we want him to be the enemy. Remember that quote we have? I think I actually put it in our brainstorming section right here. Enemies to lovers, but she's the only one who thinks they're enemies. He's been a head over heels since he met her, right? That just makes me so happy. So coming back to fun and games, where were we? Oh my gosh, maybe the love interest. Gosh, I don't know how, but shows the reader that he cares, because in some way, shape, or form, he's doing something nice. Maybe he's taking care of her family. He could have left them outside in the cold or something, and he didn't. Or I don't know. Maybe he gives her a coat because it's cold. We're bringing in the cold a lot. I saw this and I was like, ooh, I like that. So, but she doesn't believe it. Okay. And then we don't want to forget, this is why I love using Save the Cat, and I actually should let that stay there. I love using Save the Cat because it reminds us to make sure that they're still pursuing their Act 2 goal. So no matter what Mara does, she needs to be trying to save her family, right? So how do we show that though? How do we make it obvious? Oh my gosh, I just saw a bunch of comments come in. Ugh. Okay. Human stress. I believe the others are all fae. Oh, so you're talking like maybe there aren't any humans? So my thought process was, well, maybe she finds some humans because if her family is there and they're human, then maybe the fae have other human slaves slash servants slash deals going on. I think I've read that in multiple fae books where they have humans there, but I don't know. What do you guys think? We don't have to. We could keep it all fae. Then she would really stand out. Oh my gosh. There was this one book, speaking of this, what book was it? Was it Elise Kova? Her take on Fae was that only Fae could survive, and the human was starting to die because they just couldn't survive in the Fae world for very long. I think it was like months, but still, that's a cool take. Or the Holly Black books had tons of human servants, but they were just really mistreated. So there's a lot of directions we could go. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. From the midpoint twist, she could find out the friends helped capture her family. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's just jump forward because you guys had a couple midpoint twist ideas. One of them was the guy and one of them was this. Can I remember? Can somebody remind me what the other idea was? Because we had a couple already. What if she finds out? Why is that bold? What if she finds out? I'm just going to all caps when we know we're meaning friends. Friends were involved in midpoint. In capturing her family. And then there was another really good one. Gosh, I think I lost it. I'm sorry, guys. If I don't write things down, then I lose it. But if I write it down, I get sidetracked. So it's like the catch 22. Right here. Was it this one? Only to learn. Oh, yeah. This was what if this is when she learns she's half fae? Now, that said, well, that's really cool. I also like the idea of doing this other beat. Oh my gosh. Do you see what happened here? They got changed. Come on. Keep it numbers. Okay, so I like this half fae one being at the very end, like a all is lost, dark night of the soul moment, versus finding out her friends were involved is a twist because she trusted them. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they, I think I read that one already, if they did know her. Love the winter season. Good, good, good. Okay. I think I'm repeating comments and I apologize. Let me skip forward. Here we go. Okay, yes, this is where we were. What if we do I don't know who this is supposed to be. Somebody's the secret leader of the group of friends and finds out later. Are we talking about Ryben was the leader? That could be cool. So he's like secretly friends with them, being stuck in the cold for a night. That could be like a downward path moment for sure. Oh, so you're talking about, excuse me, the bouncing ball, the ups and downs. Oh my goodness. Why is this so annoying? I hate when the formatting gets all messed up. So we're just going to take the formatting off. I think I can just take it off, right? Off. Come on. Here, we'll just do it like that. Oh my gosh. There. We'll just do it like that. So another natural up and down, maybe getting locked outside. So not for the whole night, because that would be like a downward path, but briefly. Question mark, thinking she can't get back inside potentially. I always have so much trouble when I try plotting as I just write to discover. So the way you're doing this makes it seem easier. Okay, good. Yeah, it's very much discovery. See what happens. Try not to get locked in is kind of the key. And keep brainstorming forward even when you're not sure, I think is really the key. We need the human friends to use the secret passages as the Fae don't need them, making it easier for her to get around. That's a fun idea. The friends are Fae, but they're rebels against Fae royalty. Ooh, so they're against the way that Fae are using. Oh yeah, the other creatures. We could also bring in other creatures. But I like this because we do have the overarching story of the Fae taking advantage of humans. So maybe not all of the Fae are okay with that. Maybe her first friend is a runaway or something. They are running away and they've been staying somewhere outside the castle. Mara took their hiding place. That's a fun idea. A fancy ball could be a good midpoint. Let me just put that in there. Can we fit a ball in somehow? We'll see what happens. It is common for Fae to have humans. Yeah, because they live. Oh, and they live longer. Okay, that's cool. It's all going down in a fairy ball. No worries. I don't want that friendship to be ruined before it even started. That's a fair point. So we could brainstorm other midpoints. Do you guys want to just stick on the midpoint here, even though we haven't finished fun and games? We can come back to it, and just in case Zion wakes up, let's do it because this is our last beat. What is the big plot twist that's going to change everything? I'm going to go through all the questions, and I'm going to take this off so you can see them. Is there a false victory or a false defeat? Now, the good news is because we already brainstormed this, that she's on an upward path, we know that we need a false defeat. Everything seems to be going well, seems great, false defeat. Okay, and let me take off the highlighting here. Does this big midpoint victory or defeat, in this case, raise the stakes in some way? So it has to make things more difficult. Is there a shift from the wants that we gave our main character, which I will put here, to find her family on her own, right? That's the specific, to the needs that we gave them, to trust someone, I guess, someone enough to help her find her family? Because I think finding her family is probably still a goal. What do you guys think? Is there a shift from the wants to the needs? Does our midpoint, if we were to do this midpoint where she finds out the friends were involved, does that really shift her needs to trusting someone else to help her? Not really, right? That would make her that would make her even more unlikely to trust. So that's one reason to say probably not this one. And can we fit in a ball is not technically brainstorming. So let me come back to the comments here. Okay. Yeah, I love that she finds out she's Faye at the end. That's my favorite too. So I'm holding off on this one. And so I'm going to gray those two out. Like they're awesome ideas, but let's keep thinking because I think we can find something even better. Maybe any other time when the veil isn't down, there's something that Riven has to save her from. Okay. The friends betraying her is a good one. It plays into her Enneagram 8. Yeah, that's true. It would make her even dig down into her flaw even more, potentially. Oh, love interest. That's so funny. Now that makes sense. Maybe Riven's been secretly helping and has been supplying them with food and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, maybe he has a bigger role in the story. We don't want to forget him. Also, I think the friends kidnapping the family is cool, but I feel like if I found out my friends kidnapped my family, I would never trust anyone literally ever again. Very good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That would not be true friends. That might be a different story than the one we're trying to tell since we want to use friends as a comp and have her truly learn her theme, right? Before I go and read this comment, we want her to learn her truth, which is that she can trust people. She can let them in. Therefore, even though letting in Riven as the main love interest is great and all, it'd be even better if she learns her theme by letting him in and all these other friends. And the end of the story is she lets them all in and trust them. So I do agree that if they have betrayed her and she finds out here that they betrayed her, that would not be as on theme. So that's a good reason to keep brainstorming, I think. Maybe in the midpoint, she has to ask Rive for a favor, therefore trusting him, to do with helping her family. So it'd be a shift in their relationship. I really like that for something. The question is, though, coming back to this, does it give her a shift from her wants to find her family on her own? Yeah, so it fits this very well, is what you're saying. It fits that. Does it raise the stakes in some way? And how is it a false defeat? Those are two things we want to make sure. And then how is it going to change everything? And then let's really quick read Abby Emmons to see if it triggers some ideas. And then I'll come back to the comments because I'm going back and forth a lot. Something huge is going to affect our main character's plan and maybe even their entire life. How does Mara's desires and fears, her desire to not let anybody in, and her fear of trusting, make this wrench in their plans even worse? How will this make everything even more difficult for her? Okay, so let me come back to the comments here. The friends could regain her trust if they made a big sacrifice. That's true. The friends could also be other kinds of species. They don't have to be all just typical Fae. They could be outsiders. I thought an upward path leads to a false victory, not a false defeat. Okay, actually, that's a good catch. Let me pause. Let me pause and find out because I don't know. I feel like I might be brainstorming that wrong now that you say it. Okay. All right, right here on page 66, if you have Save the Cat Writes a Novel, it says, if your hero was on an upward path in the fun and games, your midpoint will be a false victory. So you're right, Avi. I was wrong about that, meaning your upward path has culminated in some kind of success. So thank you for catching that. Let me go back and change this. Victory. That does change quite a bit, doesn't it? Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm missing like 30 comments. So let's just go through really fast. What if the friends technically helped kidnap, but they had a good reason? Another midpoint idea. She finds out her family can only be freed. Ooh, I really like that. But now I've messed us up, Courtney, because that would have fit the false defeat perfectly. I'm gonna write it down just as an idea that we can maybe flip. Family can only be freed by Faye. That's a very interesting idea because that could also be an all is lost moment potentially. Let's hold on to that. Let's see. Has to be the person who made the deal. Okay. Made the deal. Even more specific. I like it. And friends, they all live in the same place. So living in secret passages would fit. The passages could be like a little world of their own. Yeah. Or if we stick with our trees, they could all, well, actually trees are, it still gives you a small image. So maybe the tree that goes into underground, there's like a specific, underground passage that's like where they are. Completely different topic. What if Ryven's family knew or knows her mother at some point? Yeah, like we could bring in the mother for sure. What if she fails to save her family because of her fear? Ooh. Oh, but shoot, now it's a false victory. I'm just going to put it in there anyway. Failing to save her family. And then these two, I'm just going to put a note for myself. Let's see here. These are probably better for the downward path that's coming up, right? The bad guys closing in is where things start to go down. So keep in mind for that, or even for the all is lost. And see, the bad guys close in is literally next, so we can hold on to that for sure. Let's see. Maybe the plot twist is that it was her father's choice to go to the fairy court in search. Oh my gosh. See, I love that too. But this is, again, it's potentially, I think I'm going to fit this in with this. Father chose to go to fairy court to search for mother. So I feel like that's another downward path. I'm going to scooch this over so you can see that. You know what I mean? Like now that I've messed us up and we're supposed to be on a false victory, it changes everything. Why do we jump for the fun and games beat to the midpoint? Because it's okay to jump around is the short version. And because we semi have some fun and games, obviously this can get filled in to whatever extent you want. If you're more on the pantser side, this could be all you have and we could call it good. And I tend to be a discovery writer. So sometimes this might be all I have. And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I usually struggle when I get to the fun and games beat because of that. Or we could keep brainstorming, but partly we're jumping because we want to get all of our beats, at least semi-brainstorm before my little guy wakes up. Her family could be kidnapped to lure her into the Fey realm so that she could be taken. Oh my gosh, that would not be a false victory either though. But yeah, we're jumping around. That's pretty much how it is. What if she thinks that she saved her family, but is trapped in a spell? Okay, I think we're still on all of our, I really messed you guys up. I apologize, but I'm going to add that to the downward path because it's a cool idea. What if she thinks she saved her family, but is trapped in a spell? You can trust a person who has no interest in, do you mean can't trust? So Rye has no interest in Mara trusting him, but her friends do need her for friendship. Yeah, thank you guys. You're grabbing it for me. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Avi. We'll see you later. Bye. Have fun at church. And then let's see, we've got maybe she managed to free her family only to find out that her mother was involved in the deal because she wants to see her daughter Mara again. So it's a victory, but also a plot twist. I like that because now we're in the land of false victory because it's not a real victory. What if she manages to free her family? I think that's honestly the best false victory. And then the reasoning behind it could be multiple things. So maybe she finds out her mother was involved in the deal. So the plot twist happens pretty quick. Maybe they don't get very far. So I guess we don't need to brainstorm the downward side so much as she frees her family. Like that. Let's go back to our questions and see if it fits. I really, really like this. Oh, sorry, there's one more. She finds out where her family's hidden, but later finds out only Faye can free them. So, or where they're hidden if she hasn't found that yet, and therefore can finally save them. So either she does save them finally, or she is about to save them finally. But in other words, it's like, we've got a victory. It seems like things are going well. This feels like it's going to fit in. So what big plot twist is going to change everything? She is about to save her family, or even does save them, find them. Here's another idea, just throwing this out before I go through the rest of the questions. What if they don't want to be saved? It's just an idea. Or what if they are brainwashed into fighting her? So she finds them, she's trying to save them, and they're fighting back, which would be hilarious and horrible. And hilarious does fit our mood for the story. Or I think this kind of fits with they don't get very far, someone catches them. So we are brainstorming the plot twisty part a little bit, which is fine, because the plot twist is what Abby calls it. The game-changing midpoint is also a plot twist, and how it changes everything. So she does save them potentially, or is about to, but something happens. I think that's a plot twist. It's just not very defined. Does it raise the stakes in some way? Let's see. If her mother is involved, it definitely would. If they don't get very far and they get caught, definitely. If the family doesn't want to be saved, I'm going to put these together, and they are like fighting her, that would definitely raise the stakes, because she's like, what do I do now? Is there a shift from wants to needs? Let's see. Finding her family on her own was her wants. At the midpoint, if her family is literally fighting back, maybe the curse is keeping them there and they're like, no, we have to do our deal, or they just literally can't leave. They're like brainwashed. Then she needs another Fae. A couple of you were saying that you wanted another Fae to have to be involved. Specifically, maybe the Fae, her family can only be freed by the person who made the deal. That was this note right here, I think, at the bottom. So we could pull all of that in. I'm really liking this. Let's see. Do you want me to write that in there quick so it's a little bit clearer and a little less chaotic? When she is finally, sorry, I'm going to come back to the comments too, because I see some of you talking about this. Finally able to save her family, or try to. We haven't decided which yet. She could find that they're unwilling to be saved somehow. I see that two of you like the brainwashed idea, brainwashed question mark, and find out that she needs the Fae who made the deal, which funny enough would be Ryben if he started it, I guess. I don't know how to say that. So she'll have to trust him. Therefore, that would move her, that would force her, right? Forcing her to be vulnerable and trust her need. I think. How do you feel about that? Let me come to the comments. I'm missing so many. I'm going to start at the bottom and go up so that I don't miss so many of the recent comments. Let's see. I don't know what that word is. Could be brainwashed that they can never leave. Oh, yeah. That would be really awful. What if Mara's mom is asking Rai to bring the deal to the father on her behalf to get Mara because, so the wording is wrong and he takes the wrong daughters. That would be so funny. Oh, this one's continued from here, I think. False victory to add in the ball. She sneaks into the ball, sees her family serving. Oh my gosh. Finally able to save her family too. Let's see. When Mara sneaks into a ball and sees her family, she is finally able to save them, or try to. I really like the fitting in the ball. That makes me laugh. That's pre-midpoint, and then midpoint she tries to save them but can't. And then continued, the curse keeps them from leaving somehow. Ooh, interesting. Brainwash question mark, or the curse on them or deal keeps them from leaving somehow. Question mark. Okay, I'm glad you like the brainwash idea. That's fun. Kind of like the idea of her sisters trying to bag Faye husband. I love that. That's hilarious. Let's see. I read that one. If they were brainwashed, it's common in Fae folklore for the food to influence them. Brainwashed by food, by fairy food. Let me spell that out. Let's see. She finds out that Rye's the one that has to release them from the deal. Yeah, exactly. What about the neighbor lady if she came into play in the story? Why would the father go looking for the mother if he wants to be with the neighbor? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's really wise of you guys to remember the mother because sometimes I create like setup characters, like the mother in the setup is not important through the rest of the story when in reality she could be very important, and that's really smart. How do you write a plot twist? Basically, you guess around until you find it. I don't think it's an easy thing. I think what we've been figuring out here, as you saw us kind of brainstorming, well, if it's a false victory, I think that might help you potentially to use the save the cat language of false victory or false defeat. So just to kind of refresh for you in case to make it hopefully clearer. If during fun and games you're like, oh, I think everything's going to be mostly going well and we're going to have an upward path, then we realize that means that there needs to be a false victory. What about the victory is false? That word kind of triggers plot twist for me personally. So I can't remember who said it, but it was the victory. She manages to free her family. What would make that false if they're not really free? So that's an easy way to do a plot twist. And it doesn't mean that we know the details, but that would be how I would try to come up with a plot twist. And just before I keep going and read more comments, don't necessarily go with your first idea. Keep brainstorming because it's a lot of work to brainstorm, but it's usually worth it to think of multiple ideas. What if she outwits the Fae, keeping her family with a deal, but now she needs to find her mom? So yeah, bringing in her mom. If someone's luring Mara in, do they know her parentage? Does it make her an important target? Killing her for being an heir might be too predictable. Yeah, and I'm not sure. So let me pause here before I go on. In case you guys weren't here for this one, I think it was under big picture decisions. We brainstormed right here. Mara, a human in the world with Fae, the dude with a problem, save the cat genre. So again, if you haven't read this, there are 10 different genres, not the typical fantasy, historical, romance, different than that. These are called, they're given specific names. So dude with a problem, institutionalized, monster in the house, stuff like that. So last time we were talking about, is the story really dude with a problem if she's Fae? And I think it is. And so I'm going to explain why if I can find it. I don't remember which page it's on. I should put it in here. Dude with a problem is essentially meaning that there's an ordinary person in an extraordinary world. So Mara, thinking she's human, thinking she's ordinary, going into a Fae world with magic fits. Now, a lot of us were including myself, does this fit if she's actually Fae? So I read up on the story, Dude with a Problem. Once again, let me try to find it. I actually earmarked all of the story genres, so I hopefully can find it. Golden Fleece. I think this one might be it. Fool Triumphant. Okay, here we go. Dude with a problem. They must rise to face the challenge of their problem. And I think it was, I can't remember what page it was on, but it's essentially, she said, Jessica Brody was writing that they don't seem to have what it takes, but in reality, they do. And that's how they rise above. And so Mara is going to have what it takes, but I think she should do it the human way and save herself the human way. Okay. Let's go ahead and keep going because we have a lot. Yeah. Has anyone else seen the mom as a bad guy? It seems like a lot of you are actually. She is the Fae. The father needs to see the mother to get a divorce so he can marry the neighbor lady. Something like that could work. Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. Maybe the neighbor is Fae and she has to make the deal instead of Riven. That's a fascinating idea if she's actually Fae. So yeah, you're coming back to that plot hole that you had brought up about the neighbor lady and why would the father go in to see the mother? What about a binding spell that keeps them there as well as a brainwashing spell, making it harder for Mara to get them out? Yeah. Maybe Fae are supposed to only leave the Fae realm for business, but her mom tried to live there, so she was taken back. Yeah, I kind of like that side where the mom had good intentions, but I don't know. Should we bring in the mom? Do you guys really want to? Because we totally could. I just hadn't pictured that. So now I got to wrap my mind around it. Coming back to the midpoint, I think finding out her mom's involved might be tricky to fit in, but I don't want to cancel it out. So let's see. Finding out her mother is involved somehow, question mark. Don't see the mother as the bad guy was coming from the point that she misses her daughter terribly, like love theme kind of played out wrong. What if the neighbor lady is the mom and she was not allowed to be with her family, had to watch from afar? That's so funny. That could be entertaining. The neighbor lady is the mom in disguise, wooing the dad a second time. Kind of like the situation with, is it Saoirse? Is that how you say that? Neighbor lady being Mara's mother could be interesting, but then I feel like Mara would have to be the oldest. Yeah, it's tricky. Okay, so before we keep going, I think we might have to end because I think it's getting pretty late. I'm actually amazed that Zion's still sleeping. Yay! But he will wake up any minute. So let's go ahead and wrap up and make sure we actually got all our decisions. All right, let's summarize from the start, which was for us today, the break into two. Okay, you ready? And I'm going to definitely write this better, and feel free to keep brainstorming and throw in ideas that I can come back to after the live stream is over and try to write into the doc. But let's just go forward and see what we got. You ready? Okay. Tell me in the comments. Say like thumbs up or something. Okay. Mara enters the Fey world. Everything is brand new. She sees larger trees. Maybe there's the veil itself. Maybe she goes through a tree. We have not decided. We will have a poll. She sees how modern the fairy world is, how different the people are. She maybe sees through the fairies' glamours. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of sun going on right now. I got a little sidetracked by the sun coming out. Let's compare in multiple ways. However we describe the human world, we are going to describe the Fey world in very contrasting ways. There may be a castle-sized fairy court tree. They might call it the Arbor Court. And we're going to compare to how wimpy the human trees are, and we'll see how much the trees come into the story. So we see that the human world is more traditional, fairies are kind of whatever, and Mara crosses the veil. Her goal in this section, right here is where we are, is to avoid the Fae controlling her at all costs. She wants to stop them from controlling her family by finding them, sneaking into the fairy court, saving them in some way by breaking the deal, stealing them away. She is not sure yet. And to do that, number 4, she needs to learn more about the Fae in order to break this deal. Okay, so she's going to try to do all of this in her decision as she breaks into 2 by herself, the wrong way, and not be vulnerable, not trust anybody. That said, our B story is going to come in at some point during and so the B story and the fun and games overlap, by the way. So let's go to fun and games and come back. In the fun and games beat, as soon as she's entered the fairy world, it seems like things are going well. We're not sure exactly which things are going to go well, and I can put this in the poll if you guys want, or we could brainstorm this more if we have time. But maybe she finds clues that are leading to her family. She finds the fairy court. She's able to sneak in. She's able to find a place to stay. This is where she's going to start meeting the Fae friends. They seem like they're on her side, right? They should be on her side because they are good people, hopefully. And she's also going to meet the love interest, even though she's still hating him at this point. Potentially, we see some helpful things happen. That said, there should still be some downs as well, just not as big. So maybe she almost gets caught. Maybe one of the Fae, by the Fae that becomes her friend, but it seemed like it was going to be a bad moment. Maybe the love interest seems bad and they have a bad interaction, but actually the reader's like, no, he's helping you out, girl. Maybe she gets locked outside in the cold briefly. No matter what Mara does in this fun and game section, she's trying to save her family by herself. That's her goal. Coming back to the B story, now that we know that, she is meeting Riven. He's a cool looking dude. He's a nice looking guy. She likes him a lot. We think that he's probably a debt collector, I think is what we settled on. I will write this up much nicer. And he is the one who's trusting. Maybe he's being her mirror, where he's trusting and being vulnerable, despite the fact that he probably shouldn't. He shouldn't trust her. And maybe she even makes it obvious. And he's like, whatever, I'm still going to help you. Whatever the case may be, he is proving to her that he's trustworthy in different ways throughout the story. And he's going to help her learn her theme. Coming up to the game-changing midpoint. Everything seems to be going well. Mara has snuck into a ball. We're right here. She sees her family. She's like, yes, I finally got this. Maybe she's prepared. Maybe she's had some beats where she's gotten access to food. Everything seems to be going well. She's gotten a path out, right? But when she tries to save them, they're unwilling to be saved, whether they're brainwashed or whatever. And then she finds out that she needs the Fae who made the deal. And let me just pause here. Even though we are almost done with our review, it just occurred to me that I think we actually had already brainstormed our midpoint during the survey, because remember how we had decided that they can't escape anytime they want? So is that a midpoint where she finds out, like, hey family, I got you, you're good, come with me, and it seems like it's going well, and they aren't brainwashed, but they can't leave? That's another idea. So are we settled on this midpoint, or do we want to include the fact that they can't leave? Let me know what you think, because now I'm like really unsure. I'm going to put this in here as well. Or what if they find out, okay, what if the family escapes with her from the court, but find out they can't cross the veil? ? Or to make it even more tricky, maybe it seems like there's multiple false victories. So false victory number 1, she finds the family. Plot twist number 1, they're brainwashed. She has to figure it out. False victory number 2, she figures it out. She like smacks some sense into them somehow. I don't know, makes them throw up the fairy drink, or just, I don't know how, knocks them out literally. I don't know. Or maybe one of her Fae friends helps her. And okay, false victory. It seems like a victory because she saved them and they're getting out of the court. And then there's your plot twist moment again. The Fae who maybe helped her, maybe the Fae friends are actually very helpful, but they're like, so Mara, just FYI, you can't go anywhere. Like, where are you going? What are you going to do? Because the veil's closed until and maybe she's been there a month. So you got 2 more months. I don't know. Or maybe she's been there 2 months and there's 1 month left. I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. Okay. I'm actually losing my voice, funny enough. Having her real Fae mother be the bad guy and finding out she's half Fae is a great ending. I'm so glad you think so. Finds out she has to right the wrong that led to them. Oh, I was like, coming back to this though. I agree that it keeps striking me as an ending, not a midpoint. So I would like to, if that's the case, probably she can't meet her mother until the end, right? I think the mom should be in the story because it could heal her shard of glass. Yeah. And that would, again, be kind of an ending thing. So I really like that. So kind of like a third act. Yeah. I like that more than the brainwash idea. But then the story would be kind of over, as the only thing left is to wait for the gates to open. And you have a very good point. But fortunately, we already kind of brainstormed everything going wrong here. So actually, no, we have options. Maybe not everything. You make a good point. They'd have to basically get caught. Okay. So what if we hold off on where did I write it in? I cannot find anything right now. Right here. What if we hold off on this, and this is potentially a beat later on as well, right? Let me scroll so you can actually see that. What do you think of that idea? So essentially we're giving her the false victory of, you've got your family, you're so close, and we don't reveal to her just yet that actually, even if she had saved them, she couldn't get out or something like that. The veil is closed. She's helped her family escape. So now they're on the run and in hiding till the veil opens. So yeah, they could be on the run, but I do like the point where it's like, that could be an even funner way, even more interesting way to raise the stakes towards the end, right? What about a binding spell that keeps them there, or they can't cross the veil? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that could be a fun twist too. Yeah. Riven tries to help Mara because he's Fae, but Mara doesn't trust him. Ooh. This is grabbing my attention, because what if she'd actually listened to him, it could have worked out. Like the plot twisty moment. Let's see here. Or what if Riven actually gave her some advice for saving her family, some info, like the fact that they're brainwashed, maybe. but she doesn't listen. So then he was helping her out, I guess, essentially. I don't know if that'd be going too far, though. I'll just keep it in the what if category. This is currently a standalone with like a series potential, but I don't want it to be a series in order because my very exciting idea is to write a series of standalones that go together in the same world, but they're like, you don't have to read book one. You can start anywhere. That's my hope, but we'll see. They want the halfling, so they kidnap the family. When she finds them, they can go, but she can't. That could be an interesting twist. I think I read that one already. If we stick with Ryven being an heir deposed, maybe the mom is the one who has him working for her. Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. Oh, good question. I think we covered that though, but that's a great question. Who is the antagonist in the story who is against Mara? That's a good question because we're about to hit that in the bad guys close in beat and need to know that because she thinks that it's Ryven in the start, right? But I don't know who it actually is. Sometimes there's internal bad guys, but in fantasy, it's very often, sorry, let me pause. In fantasy, it is very often an actual bad guy. We are not on this beat yet. So I don't want to go too far, but that's just to answer your question. And then Rye being able to help her escape the court could be very cool. We do need to set up the action leading into Act 2, Part 2. So you're talking about the bad guys close in. Yeah, we need to set it up really well. So we need to know, oh gosh, we need to know for sure what happens. Let's do a quick vote just to see if we can solve it. And if we have more votes, we can put them in a poll. Do you want, where's my main 2 votes? Do you want her to actually free her family or, and by actually free them, I mean have the chance, even if they're brainwashed, or just find out where they're hidden? That'd be the number 1. Do we want to know, and just FYI, coming back to the antagonist, the neighbor lady could be fun, but a lot of you in the past 2, and especially in the very first brainstorming session, wanted it to be the crush from the beginning to come back in. But I kind of forgot about him. Yeah, exactly. Series potential. Rebels versus royalty. That could be very cool. If it is a series, the beats need to be set up a little differently. So yeah, I kind of want to just see it as a standalone. You want them to just, you want her to just find them. And yeah, actually, okay, let's do a vote. Where'd my piece of paper go? Okay. So we're voting. Do we want her to just discover they're at the ball, but she doesn't get a chance to find them? Which, I mean, as I'm saying that out loud, that seems kind of weird because you think she would try. So let's rephrase this. Do we want her to find them, but they're brainwashed, and go with the kind of brainwashed? So can't save them versus actually does save them, but doesn't get far. Can't save them, whether it's brainwashed or what. That's option 1. And I'm going to put this as that's what you're voting for, right? Is just find them, but can't save them. Or want her to actually free them. Free them. 1 vote for that. Okay. Find where they are, but can't save them, I think is what you're saying. Learn where they are, but can't save them. 3 votes. And that's the one we already read. And then I like her saving them. So 2 votes for freeing / saving them. I would like the crush to intervene somehow. Yeah, to be that, what do you call it? The antagonist. I couldn't think of the word for a second. Brainwash and can't save them. Vote number 4. No to brainwash. So Victoria, you're voting for freeing them. Or are you voting just that you don't like the brainwash thing? Find them, but they can't leave. Okay. Can't save them. Number 5. Maybe she actually meets her father for a quick moment. She's relieved to see him, but he tells her to stop looking for them, go home. She doesn't understand why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, that fits under can't save them still. I'm going to mark that for can't save them because that's a cool version. She finds her family, but they're brainwashed. Maybe because the crush has done the brainwashing. Number 2. Find them, don't save them. Number 3. One of the friends is the antagonist. Okay. So like the only downside to that, Peter, is that it will work against her theme of learning to trust people. So we have to keep that in mind because I think that's really important. Finding where they are, but I'm assuming not saving them, right? Free them. We got 4 votes for free them. I vote for save them, 5 votes. Saves her family. They can leave, but she can't. Okay, I'm going to put that under free them because that counts. Can't save them. Only the Fae can, which she is unknowingly. Oh, okay. So that could be interesting. I'm going to put that vote under can't save them at the moment. So 10. 11 for can't save them. 12 for can't save them. Learns where they are, but can't save them until another book. That could be fun. That's 13. I like the father telling her to go, and she doesn't understand why. Very intriguing. So that's another. I think, did you vote for can't save them? I think you might have already. No. Okay. So 14 votes for can't save them. Let me show you our fun tally. Versus we have 6 votes for, what does that say? Paperback wrap. Like we're seeing my other writing. Okay. I think that makes it easy. Let's say, okay, where is it? Where's my vote? Can't save them. Most likely brainwashing. I'm going to put it at the top, I think. Okay. How would I write this? My brain is so dead. It's on weekend mode, you guys. I'm on the weekend mode. She finds her family at the ball. Whether unexpectedly or not, we don't know. And tries to save them, but can't, essentially. So what would change everything is like, how can she not? Because what did you guys brainstorm? Let me go back here. I liked how one of you said it. Only the Fae can, which she is unknowingly, because only a Fae can release them from the, I don't know, spell, curse, binding, whatever it's called. But she actually is Fae, so she could have saved them, maybe. Maybe we don't even know, that they're like stuck in the spell. Because, how did you put it right here? I gotta find it. Right here. But her father just says, stop trying to help us and go home, right? So she doesn't know that he's like, I don't know. That could be one way to be brainwashed, just an idea. Let me come back to the comments. Also, like the father telling her to leave. Okay, yeah. So multiple people saying, or she saves them and the Fae are now after her because they want to know how she did it. Is Mara's story just going to be standalone? Oh, did I already read that? I think I already answered that, right? What am I doing? If I didn't, I do think it's going to be a standalone. I'm thinking so. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that, Joshua. I appreciate it. Okay, so no one knows she is Fae but the mother. Yeah, and you're following up on this comment, right? So nobody knows how she could potentially save them or break through the brainstorming. Let's see here. If she did break through the brainstorming, what would be our false victory then? Because I think we had a second false victory, but I forgot what it is. Oh, it was the crossing the veil, and you guys were saying that might make it too easy, right? So I'm sorry, I'm down here. If we had 2 false victories, which is totally possible, then it could be they're brainwashed. She's like, breaks it somehow. This is getting too ambiguous. And then they escape, but they can't cross the veil. I like the idea of the escape coming later on, though. I do like that. Okay, let's see. Series idea. It could be about, yeah, that could be a really fun way to do it if we set up them as interesting enough so they're not like strong in the story, but they're interesting enough that people are like, I want a story about, the XYZ character. Would her father know she's Fae? Uh-oh. That's my little guy. He's howling. He thinks he's a puppy, so he sometimes howls for Penny. Can you guys hear that? Okay, I'm just going to turn this off and give myself a 3-minute warning, and we got to close. Mara was a love child of the father and mother who tricked the dad. That could be. Maybe her breaking them out makes her mother realize that she's her daughter. Her breaking them out, you're talking about the family, makes her mother realize that she's the daughter, and that's what triggers the bad guys to close in. She could save them and then bring the fight to the human world. So this is good because you guys are brainstorming ahead. You're already like here in the bad guys close in beat. We actually brainstormed a bunch of things that could potentially happen there. We've actually brainstormed some All Is Lost potential, some Dark Night of the Soul potential. Like, this is good because our next live stream, which by the way is linked below, is Bad Guys Close In, All Is Lost, and the Dark Night of the Soul. So I think we're really prepped. What I'm going to do is go through all of these ideas, Wherever possible, I'm going to turn it into a poll. And then on Thursday, I'm going to send out a newsletter to you guys so that you can get some fun survey questions to answer, and you can pick what you're most excited about. We actually picked a lot. This was actually a really fun way to do tally marks. We picked that she finds out about the veil later in the plot, so we have to remember to include that since that's what we voted on. We voted that they are in trees, and we're going to have more in the poll on what kind of trees and where and how. We voted that she can't save her family and can't free them in this point. So what am I doing trying to change that? Did I try to change that? Yeah. I'm going to actually literally write it. We voted that she can't save them. Like that was a specific vote that you guys picked. And we voted that there's an upward path. So now we're about to naturally then go into a downward path. So that was really fun. We made a ton of decisions. Yeah, isn't he adorable? He makes me laugh. I'm glad you guys like that. Okay, so I'm glad you were able to catch the live. This was so fun. And yeah, we can brainstorm all of this, like what happens. Oh my gosh, 20 minutes? Oh no. So he actually did sleep a really long time today, and I'm really proud of him. And he is the sweetest. I love kids. I definitely recommend it. But I better not turn this off too long. So you're going to hear some howling in a second because I don't want to miss it if he cries. But let me know. Do you have any questions for this live stream before we keep going? Let me do a quick reminder of how to get access to this. I will send it out in my newsletter on Thursday. And you will get to see, I'll go to the bottom. Actually, let me slide to the table of contents right here where it says, let me make it bigger. The final Butter book brainstorming right here. What I'm going to do is just like I did with the first 5 beats, I'm going to make them clean. I'm going to try to fill it out. And then if there's any questions like this that I can potentially put into a poll, I'm going to do that. Okay, awesome. So then once you get access to this doc, if you have it already, you're going to see this hopefully soon, probably not today, probably on Monday, because I got to go take care of this little man. But then on Monday, I'll probably try to write in as cleanly as possible all the stuff that we brainstormed up here in the brainstorming section that's all messy and chaotic and hilarious, and try to make it clean and readable. And he's starting to cry. Poor baby. Okay. So yes, thank you so much. I'm so glad you think so. Thank you guys for hanging out. It was so much fun. I hope this got you excited about outlining your projects. And yeah, helpful even for your books. Good. That's exactly what I'm hoping. So next live stream is linked below. It's part 4. And definitely save it. If you want to, you can click the notification. I think all the videos have that little notification bell. The next beats are the plot holes for me too. So that's why I only made them 3 beats instead of like this time we did 4, last time we did 5. Next time we're just doing 3, and we're going to try to catch up and maybe brainstorm the character a little too. I think I'm going to add in brainstorming Riven. I think that's going to be really important to know more about this dude. So yeah, go save the cutie pie. Thank you so much. Bye guys. I'm so glad you guys have outlining done, and I will talk to you guys next week. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. I try to check the comments under these videos after the fact too. So if you have any thoughts, feel free to share, and I will talk to you guys again next Saturday. All right, bye. Have a good weekend.